Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 220 of Salvaggio and Cratty here for you again on another Wednesday night, December 18th, 7:01, back-to-back weeks. 1 minute late. I'm so sorry. Patriots lost again. The Bruins are winning, even though they had a bad loss, about a week ago. Still going up and down, that type of team. But we'll cover the Bruins, we'll cover the Patriots, and a whole lot more tonight. Right before we take a week off. Of course, as anyone knows, we record on Wednesdays, and Christmas is Wednesday, so we will not be recording the podcast on Christmas. Sorry for anyone who expected us to, but that will not be happening. We'll take a little week off. I did not plug in my tree. I apologize. I will maybe do that. It's probably not that important, but it is before Christmas, so maybe I will. Ryan, how are you?
Good. This weekend, like I texted you, excuse me, we were out doing stuff for my mom, so I had the benefit of not watching this, or I watched maybe the first quarter, on the ride up to New Hampshire, but yeah, didn't get to watch this just travesty of a Patriots game. From what I heard, from what you texted me, a lot of laughable moments in this Patriots game, and just with this team in general. As we know, not a good football team. They showed that. Maybe there was some hope for this team coming out of the bye that they might, right the ship a little bit, but nope, it's the same old stuff with this Patriots team. The same old just incompetence from Gerard Mayo, to which I have fully jumped on board with you. To spoil kind of a talking point that I have later on this game, I would like him fired. I'm done with Gerard Mayo and just this team not being ready to go, committing the same stupid mistakes over and over again. Gerard Mayo making the same mistakes over and over again when it comes to post-game comments, in-game adjustments, lack thereof. Just an absolute wreck, and these last 3 weeks are going to be even worse with the Bills twice and the Chargers, who are obviously fighting for their playoff lives. It's not going to be fun if you're a Patriots fan, but if you're a Bills and Chargers fan, I'm sure you got a couple of not that the Bills need a get right game, but some definitely easy competition coming up.
Yeah, they sure do. I'm glad you're on the Mayo train because I'm not on the Mayo train, but I've eased my um taking my foot off the pedal a little bit, not as aggressive as I was at
Oh,
the
see,
time
I'm
of bringing it
I'm
up the
full
first
down
time.
now. It's like
But
it's
I
over.
maybe I'm more so just all right, I've been in this mindset for a while, so I'm not super angry about it. But
Mhm.
um yeah, I'm still in that camp. So um we'll talk about Mayo, we'll talk about the Patriots and a whole lot more. Let's start with studs and duds.
Yeah, not a lot of studs to pick from in this game when you lose 30-17. I think you and I might have. We definitely have two of the same because, again, I think at this point, if you're watching the Patriots, you can pretty much bookmark at least two guys. There are only two good players on the studs list, but we did change it up for the three. I went with one of the running backs, not to spoil yours, but that probably just did. Antonio Gibson is my number three, 7 rushes, 33 yards, an average of 4.7 on per carry. 2 catches, 2 targets, 31 yards. That was an average of 15 and a half. I'll keep it short and simple with Antonio Gibson because, again, we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about the good things because there wasn't a lot of good things to talk about. I said this last week or a couple weeks ago when he was on my studs list. I'll say it again. Can we use him more? The explosiveness is there. He runs people over. Had a good blitz pickup earlier in the game as well, so he's good at pass protecting. He just seems to do everything well. And again, maybe this is just the ineptitude of Gerard Mayo or Alex Van Pelt. I think they both go hand in hand at this point. Use Antonio Gibson more. Find a way to get him on the field because he's very good when he's out there. He's very explosive. And has been not that they're lacking in offense because the offense has looked a little better at times, but he's a piece that I think should be able to utilize a little bit more.
Yeah, he's strung together a nice last few weeks, and you hope there's more to come because it makes the game a little more watchable. And I don't know
Is
if
ever
anything
so
will make the
slightly.
I don't know if the game will be able to be made watchable next week really at all against the Bills, but maybe it
Mm-hmm.
will. I don't know. Maybe he'll be a part of that. Yeah, as you flew out, I gave the other running back some credit because there wasn't a lot of credit to go around, and the running backs warranted it amongst few people. 13 rushes for 69 yards for Ramondre Stevenson, who's my number three stud. One catch on his sole target for 16 yards. That's really it. It's just our top two guys who you can probably guess, but we'll get to. And the running backs, there wasn't a whole lot else that was great in this game. Keon White had a sack at one point. They got
Mm-hmm.
nullified by a penalty. That was cool. Um, yeah, it just wasn't great. Wasn't great.
No, it was not. Our number two, again, consensus. I think you have Mr. Two. You do. Drake May, 19 of 23, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, which I'm not putting on Drake May. I don't think you probably are either. 2 sacks, a 99.6 rating, had 4 rushes, 14 yards, and a touchdown. Uh, he was good in a small sample size, and again, that small sample size probably not his fault because the Patriots again just don't like to turn Drake May loose for some reason. Uh, like I have in the outline here, be cool to imagine what Drake May, just how much better he could be if the Patriots let him loose and let him do his thing. But there are still times where you can see the handcuffs are on him and they're still babying him, which is very very annoying. The throw to Bourne down the sideline, perfect throw, one of Drake May's best he's made so far this season. He's made a lot of good ones. The touchdown to Demario Douglas. That was a cool little innovative play that he made. The touchdown run, obviously good job to get to the outside there. And then just we've seen it these last couple weeks. It's starting to build more and more. That I think you mentioned it either on last show or a couple weeks ago. You've definitely said it before. Just that calm, cool, and collectiveness from Drake May. Really no panic in his game at times, especially when your stupid center snaps the ball into the ground twice. You got to pick the thing up and just dumps it off to the outside. Stevenson goes for I think it was 11 or 12 on that play, and then had another one that they were able to complete a pass on as well. So Drake May, good in this game again. Again, not the flashiest stat line, but really couldn't, do a whole lot when, guys are dropping balls or just handing interceptions to people, and the offensive coordinator still just does not seem to trust you out there.
No, yeah, and it wasn't his best ball, but I'm not really putting the interception on him. He's just steady Eddie, like really encouraging stuff. I'd get the like more conservative handcuffing of him if like this is around when he was coming into the starting role, but he came into the starting role in the Houston game. It's been a while since the Houston game. So yeah, maybe the backlash they've gotten will influence them a little bit, but in terms of like taking the handcuffs off. But I don't know. Like,
you wouldn't really
I'm
think
just
Arizona
expecting
would be a
losses
team.
and weird answers by Gerard Mayo at this point. So he doesn't know
Yeah,
how to answer questions well. Like
he really doesn't. Yeah.
it's pretty consistent. He had to walk back a comment about Van Pelt too. You got Booty making comments like not fully taking responsibility. You had Kendrick Bourne take responsibility, which was nice to see, but something for one play, but something you'd expect from a receiver that's like 29 years old or 28, whatever he is. You've got Javon Baker getting in a car accident that nobody really knew about right away, it seemed. At least in the public. I didn't know until today. It's a disaster in the receiving room right now. Jalen Polk still can't do anything. KJ Osborne, who was never actually good, is on the Commanders and getting healthy scratched again, so that worked out for him.
Yep, that's great.
Just rambling at this point. But yeah, Drake May's great. A constant source of good and more hope for the future because they need it and he provides it.
Yeah, how'd you like that report that came out before the game or a couple days before, whatever it was, that there was apparently an emphasis on wanting to get Polk involved more, and he has his usual 0 catches on 1 target game. Like he is the I can never remember the defensive player's name that you always picked for the duds and had like the 1 tackle.
Godshaw.
Godshaw. He is the offensive Godshaw at this point. 1 target, runs around for a little bit and does nothing. And again, that's
I would use a different form of that word for Godshaw because I find his play offensive sometimes. So
true, yeah. Very good. Number one consensus, again, not to, go too deep into it. Pretty obvious if you watch the game. Christian Gonzalez, 2 tackles, was 0 for 4 in coverage, broke up a couple of touchdowns en route to 3 pass breakups for the game. This is from Pro Football Focus _Patriots on Twitter. Said, quote, Christian Gonzalez among cornerbacks in week 15, an 85.5 coverage grade. That was 6th among cornerbacks, 6 targets, 1 first down allowed. It was that 1 catch at the start of the game by Harrison Jr., which I don't want to say it was a pick play, but it was one of those plays where you design that to get the wide receiver open. So you're probably not going to put a ton of that on Gonzalez. 4 forced incompletions. That was first among corners in week 15. A 49.3 passer rating allowed. Plain and simple, Christian Gonzalez is elite. If the Patriots would unleash Drake May a little bit more, I would maybe argue this a little bit more. But Christian Gonzalez is your best player on the roster right now. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He is, we said this last week, probably the week before that, and I'll say it again this week. He is one of 2 reasons to watch this team moving forward, and that's it, because it's him, it's Drake May, and it's just a bunch of other guys at this point.
Yeah, he is right now a top 5, if not a top 3 corner in the league. It's not always like he's not a corner that wows you with like amazing like world beating plays either all the time too.
Mhm.
He just has awesome instincts, footwork, smart. Like I can't think of a weakness with him. He's just always ready to go. Like he goes against big names all the time. I'm never concerned about Christian Gonzalez showing up. Um, and man, like it's another huge thing too for me. Like there'd be no hope if we didn't have Drake May and Christian
God,
Gonzalez here.
right?
There'd be
Yeah.
no hope.
Yep.
And there's still areas of the roster that significantly lack hope, but you hope that can change. I'm using the word hope a lot.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, at this rate, it might be tough against Buffalo for both of these guys in different ways, maybe. Um, but I see a scenario where they're probably both ending up in the studs list the last 2 weeks. So
Probably. I
yeah,
mean, not that
so
I mean Buffalo's
is what it
lighting
is.
everybody up, but like nothing against Khalil Shakir, nothing against Amari Cooper, but you almost feel like this might be kind of a week off for Gonzalez because they're Buffalo. I mean, obviously Josh Allen's gonna make plays here and there, but like there really isn't that massive number one on the Bills that you would think you'd Arizona. Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. That's Gonzalez's guy. You would think in the Rams game, Cup or Nakua, that would be Gonzalez's guy. But as we know, that's another Gerard Mayo special. Not putting their best player on or our best player on their best player. So maybe Gonzalez will be lesser down the line when it comes to the studs. Maybe he'll find his way to like the number 3 spot. But I'm with you.
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
probably going to be him. It's probably going to be May because Drake May is going to be the only thing that keeps him in this game. You would have to think,
Yeah,
unless the Bills just completely shell shock him. But as I said
yeah,
earlier,
no,
he
it's
really
not.
hasn't had that look to him yet. So I think that's another good thing to obviously build off of moving forward.
Yeah, and like the thing with Christian Gonzalez too is like he's developed. You're seeing more of a consistent theme of praise from other players around the league too. Like you
Absolutely.
saw the clip of Marvin Harrison Jr. after the game, a lot of mutual respect, and Kyler even said he's a big fan. That's just cool to see. It's not like this big deal, but like players can just say that to anybody, but
Hmm.
when you back it up with what Christian Gonzalez has done, like it's real, it's authentic. Tyreek Hill has been very public about his appreciation for his skill set. It's just cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, and yeah, let's see more of it because it's a guy that should be a franchise cornerstone for a long time.
Absolutely. It's nice to have a couple of stars back in the building that you can hopefully build around in him and Gonzalez, him and Drake May rather. On to the dud side of things, I am a little surprised with how bad this game was. We have the same duds, different orders, albeit, um, but 3 guys that are very worthy of being here. Nonetheless, I will start my number 3, Kayshawn Boutte, 2 catches, 5 targets, 19 yards, and I have here in the outline caused 1 interception because again, I put that blame solely on him. You mentioned it earlier, alluded to it. It's one of the problems I have with this team and the just consistent inability to take um, ownage of their own problems and their own actions. Keishawn Boutte is, like you said, after the game, kind of called out Drake May, but also kind of, went both ways of like he needed to be better as well. But the Drake May comment irks me because if you go and you watch that video, yes, the throw is behind Boutte, and I think this goes into how smart Drake May is becoming as we're watching him week after week. If he leads Boutte like Boutte probably wanted him to, he gets absolutely destroyed over the middle. Like there was
Yes.
a defender
Mm-hmm.
waiting to take Boutte's head off. So Drake
Yeah.
May, I would be willing to bet everything I own that May probably saw that in a split second, was like, all right, I'm gonna have him. I hope
I'm
he
not gonna
sits down
hospital
here.
pass him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna hope Boutte sees it and sits down instead of just keeps running. Kept running, had to spin around, and legitimately just handed the ball off on the interception to Sean Murphy Bunting. And then again, like we talked about, blame Drake May afterwards. So that doesn't sit right with me. Boutte, yes, he's had a good year, but he continues to do stupid stuff like this and have stupid comments like this that just irks me. And again, it is one of the many reasons or things that is wrong with this team. And like you said, has plagued this wide receiver room pretty much all season.
Yeah, and I'll just say it. I hated how he handled talking to the media about Drake May. So he's my number one outside of his poor performance and causing the interception. My number one dud. My comments about him in the past, like I like how he just says what's on his mind, kind of backfired
Yeah, this
because
is one of those
it's a
ones
little
where it's
bit
like, keep
it's
it
a
to
little bit of
yourself, man.
a little bit of different type of avenue. Like, sure, you can think these things. Whether it's right or wrong to do so, go ahead. This is one you keep up here.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up simple. Um, it puts a small blemish on a not like amazing, overwhelming like passing yards stat line, but like Drake May very efficient, only 4 incompletions, one of them was the pick. So you know to have that blemish be on you. Like, just take accountability. It is what it is. Like, you don't even have to mean what you say. Just appease the media, appease the people,
Mhm.
or you can mean what you say. That'd be
Have a
cool too.
brain, like
Have a brain, have some common
yeah.
sense. He doesn't really seem to always have that, dating even back to his college days. So,
God no.
I don't know who he was as a student, but hey, the guy was, betting on college games, which is certainly not
That's
allowed.
not the
So
brightest thing. Yeah.
certainly not allowed. So yeah, I hated how Keishon Booty handled that, and I didn't like how he played in the football game. So he's my number one.
Fair
And
enough.
my number three is Vidarian Lowe because he got beat on that sequence of back-to-back plays. Just cooked on the Baron Browning sack. Good pickup by them. He was one of the few players traded at the trade deadline. There's like 6 or 7 trades a year, so that's just the funny thing about the NFL trade deadline. Nice pickup for them, and just torches Vidarian Lowe. He got beat in the play before. Just not good. Like, he had a stretch like mid-season, mid to late-ish in the season where he had a couple nice weeks, couple of nice moments. Then you have things just really spiraling since the Miami game where he took 2 penalties in the first quarter. And just, it's coming around as a thing again that, hey, he was cast off for essentially nothing to you by
Yep.
Minnesota for a reason. He is not good. He is a depth player. He is not a starting left tackle. That is an undeniable fact. And he's my number 3 dud.
He's my number one. Just to spoil it, we'll get it out of the way because we're talking about him now. When's the last time you've heard a broadcast crew light a player up like they did on those back-to-back plays you mentioned? I mean, they destroyed Vidarian Lowe. I can't remember who the color.
Maybe not as much, but a couple of games ago when it was during the Miami game when Scott Zolak was just lighting up Sion Taki. He's like, "Is this guy done anything good for the
That's right.
Patriots?"
I do remember you telling me that. But yeah, I mean, like I was not shocked because as we know, Vidarian Lowe sucks. But just the fact that again, I wish I looked up who the broadcast crew was and who the guy was that said it. But basically, it was like the Patriots have a massive liability out there, and of course, every Patriots fan watching the game is like, yeah, no shit, we've known for 15 weeks now or 16 weeks now, whatever we're at. But I found that hilarious, and like you said, back to back plays for him to look as bad as he did. He stinks, but again, you have nothing else, so we're going to see Vidarian Lowe probably back out there again next week or this upcoming week against the Bills, and he's probably going to get torched again. If Drake May and Christian Gonzalez have a mainstay on the studs list, we said this before, I'll say it again, Vidarian Lowe is going to find his way to the duds list more so than not.
Yeah, Demontre Jacobs is a fan of the program for sure.
Rare
Is
off
probably
week, yeah, for him.
probably thrilled with this development.
For
He
sure.
doesn't like his name on blast. We do have a consensus number 2 dud, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, this one was it was more funny than anything else. Ben Brown, maybe not funny because, again, the guy has one job and decided to snap the ball off his ass twice. Again, kudos to Drake May for making plays out of that. But
Yeah,
Ben Brown, you have one job or two in this case. You also have to pass protect. He didn't do that well either. So he finds the duds list for the both of us. Number 2 consensus. Um,
water finds its level, man.
it really does.
He had
We're
a good
bound
like
to.
first like week and a half
Yeah, you're bound to
off of
feel
waiver
the
claims.
effects of a center picked up off the street eventually. And again, nothing against him because it's what you're dealing with. But like again, I couldn't believe it. The Cardinals did it too. Was it Froholt their center? I think this first
Yeah,
snap he snapped it off the ground. I'm like,
he
what
had
is
a
going
dumb
on in this
penalty too
game?
at one point. Old
Yeah,
friend for Holds,
that's true. It's
forward
another a lost
draft
cause
pick
with the
or
Patriot.
draft pick or
Yeah, he
undrafted
was a
guy. I
draft.
think he
Yeah,
was a draft pick.
couldn't tell you what round, but another one of
I think
the
like
great.
maybe the 4th round. Don't quote me
Yeah,
on that.
another
Um,
great Patriots offensive lineman draft pick. That's it really worked out well for you.
yeah, it's great. We already talked about our number 1 duds, but any additional comments on Vidarian Lowe?
No, like I said, I mean, any normal team would get him out of there after back-to-back plays were looked as bad, but they don't have anybody else. They didn't want to play Cole Strange in this game. Not that he would play left tackle, but uh, would maybe like to see him moving forward this week if he can play. Which
Absolutely.
that just shows you how bad it is. Where a guy who was probably their worst offensive lineman a couple years ago is now the guy that's looked at as the savior potentially for this offensive line. Do you have some sort of big breaking news that just broke with your reaction
The New
there?
York Rangers just traded
Oh,
Capo Caco to Seattle
that's
for Will
bizarre.
Borgen, a 3rd and a 6th.
Okay.
Wow. So, well, I mean, we can just, I guess, interesting trade. I guess the Frederick for Kako thing is out of the
Dead.
mix. So,
Didn't even know it was a
yeah,
thing.
Capo Caco very vocal about his frustrations with the Rangers and getting healthy scratched, and he's gone. He going to Seattle. So that's that. I don't really have much else. It's a good pickup for the Rangers. They need any help they can get on defense. Borgen's a fine player, so
Mhm.
interesting trade.
I got nothing else to add.
All right, let's get back to it.
Yeah, there really isn't much else to talk about this game other than, like I said, I think severe changes need to be made. I was against this earlier in the year. I wanted to give Gerard Mayo the benefit of the doubt. But after, again, you come out of the bye week and you just there's no adjustments anywhere. And then, as we talked about, he's calling out Alex Van Pelt, as you mentioned after the game. With you said it, I didn't comment about deciding to run Drake or not deciding to run Drake May on those 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 in the red zone. Couple of things that irk me about that. I get Alex Van Pelt is the offensive coordinator, but you would think Gerard Mayo as the head coach, you might have last say in what gets called there, or you maybe have some input. Doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. And I've heard some people argue that, like, oh, maybe he's not going after Alex Van Pelt. If you listen to that video, he is so close the start of it to being like that, because it's the comment is, that's ... You said it, I didn't. He 100% of the start of that, in my opinion,
Yeah.
was going to say that's MVPs, that's Alex's call, whatever it might have been. So that 100% throws his offensive coordinator under the bus to the point where, like you said, he has to walk it back the next day. That's the Gerard Mayo special at this point, is just not being able to stick to any of his comments, or trying to ice things over, or soften the blow there, smooth things over. You had Booty, as we talked about, throw Drake May under the bus with his comments about basically the play being tough or what it was not. And I don't know if you saw this. Jacoby Brissett kind of took a shot at the entire organization. This was from an exchange he had with Mike Reese before the game. He said, quote, "There's so much I could say, I guess not ideal. Obviously a unique situation here. I'm not the one to make excuses, but at some point, somebody is going to have to watch the film and understand what I'm dealing with. I think that's kind of speaks for itself. I think it's very easy for people to blame the quarterback for things. That's what this profession is. But yeah, man, tough year." So that's kind of alarming too. When I mean, we've talked about it at times
And
this
what does he
season.
have to lose at this point besides like reputation based stuff? Like
Well,
if he's
that's how
looking
I
to
took it.
tag on somewhere else next year.
Yeah, that's kind of how
What
I
if he's
took
just
it.
done after this year and we don't know it? He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna ruin my reputation on the
Just
way
go
out.
in scorched earth.
And
Well,
this shouldn't realistically. I'm not saying this should ruin his reputation. It's
Mhm.
just some people in the league will be like, I
But
can't.
no, there's a couple of things I take from that. Like, one is the Patriots side of things, where it's like it's that bad when Jacoby Brissett, who I feel like probably has never had a bad thing to say about anybody, like he just doesn't strike me as that type of person. Like he's calling this or bringing this to light. That looks bad. And then it's the other thing that you said is I'm sure there are teams that looked at his play at the start of the year and is like, well, if we need a quarterback, we can cross Jacoby Brissett off our list because he has stunk this year. And I'm with him in that sense of the, look at the situation he was put into. Like that's a guy, like you said, is probably playing for a job next year or still trying to make it seem like he is worthwhile in this league to a team that might be quarterback needy next year. I don't necessarily blame him for saying what he said. It's not great. And again, I think it goes back to this team just does not seemingly have any true leaders. And maybe it's the sense of, they're just following their head coach. Gerard Mayo likes to throw people under the bus, which is crazy to think of when he starts off the year by saying he wants to, mold guys into better men, and then just not focus on the player aspect or whatever his comment was.
Coach speak fluff.
But it looks so bad now when all you've done the entire season is just, again, throw guys under the bus and not be accountable. And then you say stuff like that. It's mind blowing. And now I think you're seeing the trickle down effect where you don't expect. I don't want to say you expect young players to come in and just be a-holes, but like you expect them to not get it is the point I'm trying to make. So guys like Booty, Douglas at times earlier in the season when he had his little temper tantrum, you kind of expected from young players to not get it yet, but to see a guy like Jacoby Brissett come out and say that, I think just really goes to show you how broken and bad this team is. And again, why I think that not Gerard Mayo, Robert Kraft and just the Crafts in general need to take a big look in the mirror this offseason, especially with reports out there. I saw Tommy Curran had earlier today that Mike Vrabel wouldn't be opposed to coaching the Patriots if that became available. Right there with you. Thumbs up.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
100% move on from Gerard Mayo if Mike Vrabel is going to be the next guy, because I think that makes all the sense in the world. I've rambled here for a while. I throw a lot at you, but I'm sure you've seen it all. Your thoughts on what has transpired these last couple of days and where are you at on? You kind of alluded to it, but your stance on Gerard Mayo moving forward.
Yeah, it's clunky, unstructured garbage. It's stuff that's not thought through before it is spoken, and I don't like it. It's kind of a thing you could have seen coming as well if you're paying attention enough. Um, Maybe the Crafts are looking in the mirror a bit by like you saw them on the broadcast like terrible, like what is that play call, saying
Writing
stuff
down
like that for
notes.
the
Yeah.
lip readers.
Yep.
I'm not an expert lip reader, but going off just what people were saying, stuff like that. Um, you have to be like, sure, you don't want to, ruin your ego if you're Robert Kraft and jump ship on the coach you brought in from internally, or yeah, brought in wasn't the right word, or promoted internally.
Mhm.
You want to give it another chance, but like you've been bad for a while now. Like you can't risk
Something has
this.
to change.
You
Yeah.
start next year, like no matter who you get, no matter who you draft, like how better your team may or may not be in some areas. If you start out shit next year, you're going to be like, okay, like Gerard's seriously on the hot seat. Maybe we should have just cut bait and acknowledged the L. That's what they should do. At this point, they're not going to do it during the regular season. They do it sometime after. Like, there just
Mhm.
wouldn't make sense with like 1 or 2 weeks left in the season to fire Gerard Mayo. But you have to acknowledge this fuck up. Um, it sucks. It sucks that like this guy Gerard Mayo just has no media know-how.
Mhm.
And maybe that's because his predecessor, Bill Belichick, was just like grumbly bumbly
Well, that's the
fucking
crazy thing
Bill.
too. It's just completely two opposite ends of the spectrum, where
You
it's
didn't be
say
like, oh
nothing or
yeah,
say too much.
he
Like,
didn't see his guy like saying very much, so he's like, oh yeah, like maybe I wasn't ready for this in his own head. But he
mhm.
could also be like, hey, like I want to change things from how Bill did things. They talked about like the
Well,
less of
that's
a hard
obvious.
ass
Yeah.
vibe. Um,
Well,
Look,
you're
I'd rather
definitely
have a
getting
hard
that.
ass
It's
vibe
it's
than a clueless ass vibe.
I was
Like,
just gonna say a laissez-faire vibe of like, I mean, people get on him for not really showing any emotion on the sideline. Like it's all coming to a head. You briefly mentioned it because it's been a talking point that's come up the last couple of days. Did you have any overall thoughts? Because again, a lot of people made a lot about the Jonathan Kraft writing down in the notes, and as you mentioned, the mouthing off of like the play calling was terrible. Because the way I look at that, I'm sure there are people out there that want to be like, oh, cool, it's the Crafts. They're finally getting it. That changes are going to be made. I'm on the opposite end where it's like, that's cool you guys are pissed off, but like you're just as much as fault as anybody else. Like you put this team together, this crap bag roster, and didn't spend a ton to improve it. And then, as people have talked about, kind of held a Mickey Mouse coaching hire process. Like we obviously now know that Gerard Mayo was going to be the next guy. A couple years ago, from all of Robert Kraft's comments on that, you hired, what was it, the 11th guy in on offensive coordinator interviews because nobody wanted to come here. So like, I don't know how much credit I want to give the Crafts for being like, oh, this is terrible, this is awful, because they're part of the problem, in my opinion.
yeah, it's it's pure dysfunction. Like they lost the two gems, and it took one getting fired versus one going to Tampa Bay,
Mhm.
um, and things have just descended into
Pure madness,
yeah. Like I tried to think of a different word, but besides madness, but
pure
like
sadness.
I guess that's just the right one. Um, it's
And see,
bad.
the problem is too,
And
it's not a quick.
the funny thing is too, if they fire Mayo and hire Vrabel, I could see them going, oh, like we interview Mayo, Vrabel, that's it. Like they won't look at anyone else.
Yeah,
I
they'll
could see
they'll
that.
bring somebody in for the Rooney Rule aspect of it, but like other
Yeah,
than that,
like
like
it's tough. Like I don't know. I'd have to look back at like candidates that were floating around, um, as guys that could have been hired, but there was like I remember Zach Robinson was one from the Rams. Nick Cayley was one from the Rams. He's like a former Patriot.
yep.
I don't know what their impacts have been in their new roles, but I don't know. It's tough in retrospect to look back on that.
Mhm. Well, the
And
thing,
God, he just needs a whole coaching overhaul, media overhaul, public speaking
yeah,
overhaul. Like
took
it's
a
bad,
college
and
took a college class like we had to, public
it's
speaking 101. Like,
yeah, like the reputation for the Crafts is just not getting any better,
well, there
which
was a
is a huge
comment.
thing for them too. So
Did you
that's
see the
great.
one he had today that I don't know what the question was that provoked it, but basically that he was asked, or his answer was something along the lines of like, I'm not gonna go into details or call anybody out specifically, and then in the next breath was like, but Booty has to, work better at catching the ball. It's like, dude, how could you say one thing and then immediately go against it 2 seconds later? Like it's mind blowing to me just how stupid and just not, you know, not knowing of the situation, where however you want to word it. Like it's crazy. The other thing too about that should aggravate you about the Crafts, just to stick on that point a little bit, because let's talk about Mike Vrabel. If Robert Kraft wasn't so hell bent on hiring Gerard Mayo a couple years ago, he was hired, and then like a day or two later, Mike Vrabel became available. So you just wait a couple extra days, maybe interview a
Yep.
couple extra people, Mike Vrabel becomes available, and then you really have to second guess it and go, huh? Well, do we really want to give Gerard the title when Mike Vrabel's sitting here, who's way more qualified and has had more experience? But nope,
And
we
Gerard
named.
Mayo can stick with the defense.
Yeah. Oh, do you even at this point do you even want him to stick around with the defense?
I
Because
would have
that
been
hasn't
cool
changed
with
either.
it in that situation, just like keeping him on defense, like
True.
fine with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but right now I don't know.
Yeah. Right now
I
you
don't
blow
think he would
everybody
stick
out of there.
around. But yeah, I don't think there's any scenario where they demote him.
No.
It's bad.
It really
It's
is.
really
Well, there was
bad.
talk I saw yesterday on, I don't know if it was a report or a rumor or whatnot, but some people seem to think that if Vrabel becomes the next head coach, you could see Josh McDaniels back here as offensive coordinator. At this point, would take that in a heartbeat. Like that should be
Yeah,
your
fuck
one
it,
A,
dude.
one
Like,
B.
I
Like
don't know. It would make sense with the Crafts too. Like, oh Josh,
just
yeah.
keep
Like, come
keep
on,
going back
buddy.
to the well. Yeah.
Go
See if
back
that
to the
works out for
well.
you. But I don't know. Again, it's one of those Red
Exactly,
Sox
man.
things where, like I said, I'm really hell bent on, I'll see it when I'll see change, or I'll believe change when I see it. Like until the Crafts actually do something proactive to fix this situation, and it's not a quick fix, that's for sure. As we know, the reports are out there that apparently Gerard Mayo coaching for his job, and that is becoming more and more like a likely thing as the weeks go on. I don't know
Yeah.
how you save your job at this point. Like, obviously, it's a crappy
Yeah,
spot to
you
be
have the
in
Bills.
when you have the
Like,
Bills twice, who are looking to, are looking to kick the crap out of you and just, do what you did to them year after year. And the Chargers, who are fighting for their playoff lives right now, so they're obviously going to come out hungry and ready to go in that game. And even if they don't, probably the Patriots are probably not going to be ready to go in that game, because we haven't seen them ready to go in a game since like week 1 against Cincinnati. So
Drake May's got the right mindset though. He's like, oh yeah, I'm like about the weather. He's like, I'm ready to wear long sleeves. Like, yeah, Drake, fuck yeah, dude. Like,
figure it
embrace
out.
it.
Yep.
He doesn't. He probably is like, yeah, dude. Like, whatever. I'm just gonna do mine. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna get mine.
It's all they really
At
can do
this
at this
rate.
point.
So
Like,
yeah, all the power to him. It's gonna be tough. You got the Bills who bludgeon teams to death. Whether it's close or not, we've seen some of these high scoring games be close lately, but they score a lot. And they're really good. And Josh Allen is pulling the fuck away with the MVP race. Um, was he your preseason pick?
can't remember.
Hmm,
No, who did I have as my preseason MVP? It's gonna bug me now.
remember.
I don't
I
know.
don't remember.
No,
But
it probably wasn't, because I don't know if I was. I mean, we both weren't high on the Bills. We
maybe
are
you did next
famous.
year or last year. You did, I think,
No, I think my MVP was Burrow.
or 2 years. I feel like you picked Allen at one point. I don't know.
I think I might have had Allen last year.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
We can look back at some point, but right now we're talking about the Patriots at the 11-3 Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 14-point favorites. The over/under is 46.5, and you shared a very similar thought process to me when we were texting about it, that they could hit that over
nope.
by
Just
themselves.
take that, and Buffalo will score about 40 of those, and you just need the Patriots to
I might just
score one touchdown to be good.
I hate betting against the Patriots, but like, or betting against any of my favorite teams, but like, what would the odds of like over 30.5 team total points be for Buffalo? Maybe because they're so good, over 30.5 could be like minus 180.
Yeah, I have to look that up now. I'm
I
curious.
don't know. I could be totally wrong, but the point stands. The Bills are significantly better football team than the Patriots, and they're going to show it. I don't think there's any scenario where the Patriots win this game, unfortunately. Josh Allen is playing like a fucking maniac lately. 3,395 yards through the air, 25 touchdowns, 5 picks, 91 carries for 484 yards, and 11 touchdowns on the ground. And this is a guy that's pulling away in an MVP race where Saquon is playing out of his mind and Lamar Jackson is having a pretty damn good season himself. That just shows how good Josh has been. It's gonna take a miracle for someone to steal the MVP from him. First would be the first of his career. James Cook, 13 touchdowns on the ground, 1 through the air. Ray Davis is a great second fiddle to him. Ty Johnson even contributes. Khalil Shakir has been excellent this year. Keon Coleman has missed some times, but he's shown, some nice moments for them. Dalton Kincaid's a pretty serviceable tight end, as is Dawson Knox. And then you got Amari Cooper, who chips in every once in a while as well. We got him for cheap at the deadline. It's a powerful offense. Like you said, it's not like a offense with a Tyreek Hill or something, or an A.J. Brown like we've seen in the past that namely Christian Gonzalez has to deal with. It's Khalil Shakir's and James Cook's of the world. But they get it done. They're efficient. And Khalil Shakir is excellent. So, he was a guy coming into the season. They're like, okay, they're going to rely on him, and he's shown flashes. But, like, how good is it really going to be? Pretty good. Just shy of 800 yards for him on the season, 4 touchdowns. On defense, you got guys like Terrell Bernard. DeMar Hamlin's been productive this year. Pretty cool story there. Christian Benford, I think, is super underrated. I don't think he gets enough praise. I love AJ Epinesa. Ed Oliver will make a play every now and again. The stats won't blow you away with Ed Oliver, which is a little surprising. He's got 24 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. Not the most mind-blowing stat line, but if you watch Ed Oliver, you know how capable he is. They're a very good squad. Matt Milano has not been a huge factor for them this year due to injury, but he's a very good player too. I don't know when or if he'll be back, but just saw the name.
I think he played last week. Was
on the sheet
2 weeks ago?
Last week?
Okay. Yeah, I think either last week or 2 weeks ago was his first game back. So, and he's the guy that always kills the Patriots too. So,
yeah, I just wanted to give props to a former Eagle. Speaking of the Eagles, they got an offensive line transfer from Merrimack today, and they got one of Bill O'Brien's guys from Alabama, Dylan Lonergan, and a Bama QB is playing at BC next year. Very exciting stuff.
Pretty good.
Dylan Lonergan has transferred to BC. Unbelievable. Quick tangent. Forgot to put the injury report in the outline. That's on me. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, to answer your question from earlier, I just looked it up on DraftKings. The Bills, you said 30.5 for their team total.
Yeah.
It is right now minus 105. If you'd like to take, the
I'm
over on 31.5, that is plus 124. So.
What about 46.5? Does it go that high?
Go that high? It does not. Over 40.5 right now is plus 455.
Oh my god. I might take that.
That's the worst thing. What do you get?
Yeah, I just don't. I probably won't because I don't like betting against.
Well, Patriots over 16.5. That's at 105, and you would hit that with your score prediction. Not to spoil anything, but you'd be in good shape if you took that bet.
Yeah, man, it's not going to be good. I might just take one because, not in disrespect to the team, just because it's going to hit. They're going to let up a lot of points.
Free money, yeah.
It's not happening. James Cook is going to run all over them. Josh Allen is going to run all over them, and
it's the same as last week to a more extreme degree. They couldn't stop. Not that Kyler Murray ran a whole lot. He didn't have a great game, but they couldn't stop James Conner. Kyler Murray had his moments, and the defense stunk. So,
I wonder what the weather forecast is though, because if there's a lot of snow, maybe that impacts the points.
Oh, true. Good point. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like in Buffalo and
Pats Bills weather forecast.
Oh, it should tell you in the ESPN thing, shouldn't it? They usually have a little.
I'm not sure.
Let me see if it would load.
According to NFL weather, the game will be kicked off at 12 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill factor of 3 degrees Fahrenheit. In addition, snow showers are also a possibility. So no guarantee.
Right. So maybe not the over.
Maybe not the over, but I'm just operating under the assumption that the Bills are going to score a lot, and I have the Bills winning 38-17. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. The Cardinals put up 30 on you, and they have an offense that can put up points, but they're not the Bills.
No, God, no.
It's not going to be fun. It could be more, or it could be less because of the snow. I don't know. They could drop 50. I don't know.
They very easily could.
It's just not going to be good either way. That's the one thing I do know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Patriots, they couldn't get a stop last week on third down. We didn't even touch on that because I forgot to put it in the outline, but I think the Cardinals were like 50% on third down, and the Patriots were like 0 of whatever it was they finished with, 0 of, I don't want to say 5 because that feels too low, but it might be 0 for 5 with how bad this team has looked. I got the Bills dropping a 40 bomb, 40-20 on the Patriots because the Patriots defense can't stop anybody. Buffalo's defense hasn't been great. If there has been an Achilles heel of that team of late, it's been their defense, but as I just said earlier, this is a get-right game for the Buffalo Bills. If you have any sort of problems that you think you need ironed out before the playoffs start, two great games against the Patriots are a great way to figure those problems out and get them solved. The Patriots, as we know, can't really score on anybody. I know we love Drake May here, but you know, some of those points came in garbage time last week. Didn't really mean a whole lot. Nothing against Drake May, but it just is what it is. So if the Patriots are going to score, it's going to be in garbage time when the Bills have all their starters out of the game. They're going to stomp the Patriots, rain, sun, snow, whatever it is. Take the Bills in this game because it is going to be ugly, and it's going to be ugly early.
Wish I could look forward to this one.
Right? We joke about this, and I always make the same joke of like, oh, if the stadium gets baned, there is no possible way the Bills lose this game. Like, I can't even imagine like that 3-0 game where you had the crazy wind a couple years ago in Buffalo. Like the Bills of now will find a way to beat the Patriots of now if something like that happens again. Like I legit can't think of a way the Patriots win this game. Like, even if I say like Drake May comes out and throws, it's the Joe Burrow effect, throws for 400 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. The defense sucks so bad they'll just give all that right away again. So I got nothing when it comes to figuring out a way for the Patriots to win this one.
No, and you really shouldn't have anything, so that's okay.
No.
Let's recap the week that was week 15. I did not watch the Thursday night game, and I'm really glad I didn't.
I chose to play Fortnite, and it was the best decision I could have made.
12-6, Rams over Niners. Devondre Campbell quit on the 49ers and has since been suspended for 3 games.
That was the only notable thing from this game, outside of like Puka Nacua was the new Cooper Kupp. I think it was the first time since 2019 I saw that Cooper Kupp had not had a reception in the game. So for all the fantasy football owners,
to bet on him.
Yeah, right. Well, that or God forbid your fantasy team, because obviously first week of playoffs. Thank God I had a bye in one of my leagues because getting 0 points from Cooper Kupp would not have been great in the first round. I'm sure plenty of people had to deal with that pain. But yeah, not a lot to talk about with this game other than what you mentioned. Devondre Campbell literally giving up on the 49ers. Weird decision like that. I'm not gonna say I get that you're pissed off. You got moved out of the starting role, but if there's a team to quit on, not to quit on, 49ers are pretty good. You're gonna have a pretty much decent amount of success with that team, although they haven't been great this season. Probably not a team you want to get yourself suspended and probably released from because they're pretty good, more so than not.
Yeah, and I haven't used this term in a while. Anti-football pussy.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time you broke that out was.
That's an anti-football pussy move.
I mean, finesse bitch has come up quite a bit. It's going to come up again in this show a little later, but.
Yeah, it will. It will. Cowboys 30, Panthers 14. Not the final score I expected. Not the Cooper Rush performance I expected. 18 for 29, 214, and 3 touchdowns. Rico Dowdle got 25 carries. CeeDee Lamb has now scored in back-to-back weeks. Some guy named Jalen Brooks scored. Maybe that was just solidarity with the Jalens because Jalen Tolbert scored and then Jalen Brooks scored. I didn't know who Jalen Brooks was because I don't think he really plays.
Neither did I.
And the defense looked good. Just a perfect Cowboys win for this type of situation because it'll give some of them hope.
Oh, they've had hope for the last couple of weeks when they started beating teams. So there was people that they're talking about Mike McCarthy saving his job at this point. Like, just wait until God forbid they do sneak into the playoffs and then they get bounced in the first round like every year. Like, nothing is going to change with Dallas because of just how that team is run and how they operate.
Clown show.
Real nice of the Panthers, too. The 1 week we start to believe in them. We both picked them to win this game. I feel like they was favorited for the first time. I saw something crazy like 794, I think the number was, days. Whatever that comes out to for the Bath Wizards there. But just an absolute Panthers performance. Bryce Young turned back into last year, early season Bryce Young, where he just looked lost out there. And the Panthers took a big step back in this game.
Big step back, yeah. At least they're not the Patriots, though.
True.
Chiefs 21, Browns 7. Nick Chubb is hurt again.
So's Patrick Mahomes.
Wait, did I just...
No, Chubb broke his foot in this game. You're right.
Okay, I didn't know. I just made myself think it happened the week before. Holy smokes, Jameis. DTR is maybe the worst quarterback I've ever seen.
He's one of them. In a game where Jameis threw 3 picks.
He's really bad.
That's saying something. But yeah,
Good God.
Talk about a team that has just absolutely lost a quarterback. I don't know if it was a true report I saw, but there was maybe thoughts of Bailey Zappi being the quarterback for them moving forward, which would just be hilarious. Like finish out the year
No,
with that
please.
stiff and like
Just
if you're gonna
just change the matchups and put Jaguars versus Browns.
yeah, so you get
Jones versus
Mac
Appy.
versus
Just change
Bailey.
the schedule.
Yeah. First team to score a touchdown wins that game, but it has to be a passing touchdown from one of those two idiots.
The game lasts 3 days.
Yeah, legit. What are your thoughts on this is the time of year we usually get it. We got it in this game. Patrick Mahomes suffered what looked to be a serious ankle injury, but a kid at work today told me he's apparently playing on Saturday in that Texans
Yeah.
game. So it's the time of year where Patrick Mahomes breaks out the fake ankle injury. I said it to my
Yeah.
dad watching the game. I might have texted it to you as well. Whether it's that Texans game or a game further down the line or in the playoffs, you're going to get the typical Patrick Mahomes. He's hurt, his ankle, he's gutting through it. Is he going to be able to play? He'll scramble for a 30-yard first down or something ridiculous to ice a game, and it's the same thing every year. Like I'm sure Travis Kelce this game coming up will have some sort of injury pop up, and there'll be questions about him, but it's the same story, different year with the Chiefs every year, and it's one of the many reasons why they are just very annoying.
Yeah, and this one was a little different. Like we saw the one against I forget who, where it was like you could just tell it was fake and he'd come back. But
Yeah.
this one he got crunched a little bit, but
Oh yeah, the 49. It was the
it's just
49ers game.
might have been.
Yeah.
But like you could just tell it was like, okay, he got crunched, but it's not serious. He's just hobbling off for the appearance. It's just something he likes to do. Like
I'm sure there's a
very
mic'd up video somewhere of him fighting with Andy Reid, being like, "Hey, get back out there and play." Like last year, a couple years ago, that came out, and they were like, "We'll just hold you out." We got.
Oh my God, he loves football so much.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we don't need it. We've seen the story before. We know how it's gonna end. Like you come up with some new shtick.
Yeah, find a new shtick. Seriously. Finesse bitch Dolphins lose 20-12 to
Shocker.
the Houston Texans. Nico Collins with a funny stat line, 4 for 17, 2 touchdowns. Tua,
He sucks.
no, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. Three. Did you
He
see
sucked
the
this game?
Did you see the
He
pick
sucked
he threw
this
the
game, but he
end of
doesn't
the
suck.
game?
He doesn't suck. He's been playing pretty good outside of this week overall.
I'm out on Tua.
I'm not, but this game was bad.
Gross. This game.
Yeah.
He can't beat anybody
really
good.
Tough. Yeah, he can't beat anyone good. That's a fact.
Or play in the cold.
Yeah, or play in the cold. None of them can on that team. But return to form. Excuse me, a little return to form for Houston's defense. So that's big for them. Not like they haven't been like terrible, I'd say, in the past few weeks, but like not like beginning of the season Texans maybe.
Yeah, true.
Derek Stingley was sick. Maybe the best game of his career, and I can't even say that comfortably because he's very good. Yeah, they just made plays and the Dolphins didn't. Saw a lot of dejected Mike McDaniel.
You hate to see that.
Yeah, man.
He's the whiz kid that he is. He's another one that insanely overrated.
Yeah, he had a fun time in the sun. No, just yawning. Okay. Jets 32, Jaguars 25. Aaron Rodgers versus Mac Jones. Brian Thomas Jr. returns to doing Brian Thomas Jr. things with Mac Jones. Maybe that was the key the whole time. We don't know. Devontae Adams, almost 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers had some moments. I still don't think he's like close to what he used to be. He's not really saying much.
Apparently waging a war on ESPN.
I saw the part of my take. I say this, so I'm not taking credit for this take. Mac Jones is the most cocky bad quarterback of all time.
I did see this, and it's 100% true. Did you watch any of that game or see any of the clips on Red Zone?
Did he do the Riz face thing?
Yep.
Oh my God.
But he also tried to hide it too. It wasn't like he was confident about it either. Yeah. He kept it to himself, and then it was really weird looking. And then he was jarring at Jets players on the sideline after a couple of runs. But in typical Mac fashion, talk all the shit and then not be able to back it up because he had another one of the just ditzy Mac Jones sacks where he runs around and turns this way and then he's back over here and then just falls down when this guy's near him, and then another just horrendous pick at the end of the game. Yeah, the turtle little crumble that he does,
they would never do it, but I need a video of the Rizzler calling the Riz face a doom like they do. Yeah. Mac Jones Riz face gets a doom.
Very cringy.
That would be their best video. Yeah,
But like
he's
it was
so
funny to
unlikable.
watch it just unravel because I mean he started off good. There were a couple of runs where it's like, where the hell was that when you were with the Patriots? There were a couple of throws where you're like, all right, there's rookie Mac Jones coming out, and then you have the stupid Rizzler thing. You're like, all right, like take it easy. You're not doing anything too crazy yet. Again, he had a couple of nice runs where he got in the face of Jets players. It's like dude, you got to be able to back this up late in the game. And then 2 picks later, a
A
couple of
dart.
sacks, it
One of
all
them was
fell
a
apart.
dart.
I'm
So
like,
great.
Jesus, Mac.
And like, do you remember that video from the preseason two or camp where he's like doing that drill and then he does like a tumble roll onto like some padded thing and then he does like this dance and it's like the
Yeah, yep.
worst. It's the worst thing ever. Like
Might be
truly,
the whitest white guy to ever live.
he
Like,
is the whitest of white guys.
yeah.
Oh man,
At least he's
it's
having his
not a
fun
treat
now because he
to
is
watch.
going to be a career backup. Maybe not even in the league at this point with how bad it's looked at times. I
He could
forgot
be
to
selling
save it.
used cars next year, dude.
Uh, he might be down in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I wish I had the tweet saved because I saw it today and it was mind blowing, but it really wasn't. I can't remember if it was like over 30 yards or something in his last 20 attempts. He's like 0 for I
Seven
think
or five or something I
no,
saw.
it's something like he's like 0 for 17 or something ridiculous,
Oh,
and it
whoa.
has either 3 or 4 picks. It's probably more than that, but like again, I wish I had the tweet saved to know exactly what it was. But it was a stat where you look at it, you're like, no, there's no way that's true. And then you look at the quarterback, and you're like, oh, that actually might be true because he couldn't throw a deep ball when he was here, and probably hasn't figured out how to do it with Jacksonville.
No, he's a bad football player. You know who's a good football player again? Not really, never really was bad in his little struggle phase he
A
had at
little bit of a
times.
rookie wall.
Jaden Daniels, 20-19 Commanders over the Saints. 25 for 31, 226, 2 touchdowns, and 11 carries for 66 yards. Him and Terry McLaurin, uh, excuse me, McLaurin have been excellent together as of late in particular. And yeah, another game where I don't love the potential downside of going for it to
Yep.
win the game because the negative outcome is
Did you hear his reasoning for doing that? I heard it on Zolak and Bertrand the other day when they do their Sounds of Sunday. And obviously, Darren Rizzi was asked about the decision to go for it at the end of the game. And he basically was like, oh, we had a lot of injuries, guys hurt, so I didn't want run the risk in overtime. It's like, way to believe in the rest of the guys on your team. Like, anything can happen in overtime. You get lucky, you get the ball first, put it away early, but nope, I'm going to go for it because
God.
I'm scared that the rest of my team is hurt. And
Yeah,
like,
let's. You kind of
like,
sounded like Julian and Big Daddy there.
yeah, a little bit.
Um, Ever since Sean Payton has departed from the Saints, they have just not been able to find a good coach. So,
No.
yeah, that's the thing there. Commanders win, big win for them. Um, the Ravens pummeled the Giants 35-14, and you think, like I kind of talked a little bit about earlier, that a 21 for 25, 290, 5 touchdown performance with 6 for 65 on the ground for Lamar Jackson would really help his MVP case, and maybe it still might, but it really hasn't in like the betting markets and
No.
public discourse. Um, Lamar Jackson played on pretty much autopilot mode and just played football on easy mode and beat the fuck out of the Giants along
Yeah,
with the
I
help
mean
of his
that
friends.
that was one of the craziest things, and the fact that I don't have the stat line here because it wasn't really worth adding. But like Derrick Henry didn't really do a whole lot, didn't have to with how good Lamar was. That MVP race is probably going to end this week with Lamar having the Steelers and obviously Josh Allen having the Patriots 2 of the last 3 weeks. Like I think we're going to get our clear cut runaway. Like maybe Saquon enters a little bit more, but if I had to guess right now, it's probably a 2 horse race between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
Because I mean Jackson,
they
like
just won't give a running back the MVP. Yeah,
that's why too. Um, but like, that's the thing too. It's like Lamar. Not that Lamar is feasting off of these easy teams, but like he's putting up good numbers. But you're getting these great Josh Allen games in big spots. Beating the
yeah,
Chiefs, going toe to toe with or beating the Lions, going toe to toe with the Rams, and he's putting up all these massive numbers. Lamar's again. I don't want to say he's got cupcake games, but like you expect Lamar Jackson to put up these type of performances against teams like the Giants. If he can figure out the Steelers, that's been his one kind of bugaboo this in his career outside of obviously Kansas City in the playoffs. If he can beat the Steelers or play well against the Steelers, then maybe he can continue to be in the race. But you and I are both in agreement. I think it's Josh Allen's to lose.
yeah. It is. It has to be. So that's where we're at. Tommy DeVito got concussed. So we have Tim Boyle. What?
Still mind blowing
I
that he's an
wish I could
NFL
just stop
quarterback.
yawning right now, but I can't, and I don't
Oh
know
no,
why.
I think it's fitting to yawn when you mentioned Tim Boyle's name because as we talked about before, that's a guy. It's
Talk
it's
about bad
crazy that he's
quarterbacks.
still even in the NFL or was even in the NFL to
He
begin
didn't even
with.
go to a good school either. We talked about this in the past. He went to UConn. Like,
Yeah,
what is a UConn?
and he had more picks than touchdowns, didn't he?
Yeah, like I don't get it. It's very strange. Bengals 37, Titans 27. Joe Burrow pretty good outside of a couple picks. It was a T Higgins game. Jamar Chase had a game himself, but T Higgins took the score out of the between the two of them and had a pretty good game himself. Bengals facing their old OC in Callahan, and they beat him. 39-yard pick six for Geno Stone. I think the broadcast called him Geno Smith when that happened. That was funny. 7 TFLs, 6 pass deflections, 5 QB hits, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery, 4 picks, and a sack for their defense. And another game where they put up a bunch of points. They're pretty good at that, at least. This is now they're turning it into wins, which is big for them.
Yeah, it was huge. That I was kind of gonna say it makes you wonder if Will Levis doesn't throw the ball around all over the field and turn the ball over. If the Titans maybe would have made this game close because
Yeah.
still was able to put up 27 points against a solid, had some big defensive moments for the Bengals. And now, as we know, the Will Levis memes are probably dead this season. He had another one in this game I saw across Twitter.
His ex-girlfriend was there, so is that kind of a meme? Like
getting benched in front of your smoke show ex-girlfriend? Yeah. Absolutely.
That's tough.
Like that's a rough meme to end on. It really is. Like now you gotta sit through Mason Rudolph for the last 3 weeks of the year unless he gets hurt and maybe Will Levis the chance.
Thankfully for him, there haven't been stories about him and her in the past, like at the draft or anything. So
right,
yeah. So people probably just forget about it, like they have that. Broncos 31, Colts 13. The Colts got benched.
Rightfully so after what Jonathan Taylor did. It blows my mind that, especially NFL players,
like me, stupid ass.
Not to excuse college players, but again, young dumb players. At times, Jonathan Taylor is a premier back in this league, a guy that should absolutely know better. To drop the ball on the goal line and then the game literally spiral out of control after that was just such poetic justice. As if you're a Broncos fan, if you're just again a fan of that type of belief and thought process, because that was bad from Jonathan Taylor. And again, you wouldn't expect that out of him. And the Colts paid the price almost immediately after that.
Yeah, they got smacked. And Bo Nix didn't even play good. Like
he didn't have to. Yeah,
20 for 33 and 130, 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. Like 3 touchdowns is fine, but when you get 130 yards and 3 picks, it kind of
diminishes it big time. Bit. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and Denver's defense, man, they're returning to becoming a somewhat of a defensive identity football team the last 4 or 5 weeks. So, and Pat Surtain's been excellent this year in particular. So,
yep.
Pat Surtain the second, I should say, because his father does not play football anymore. Quite old for that. Bills and Lions. We kind of clued out. Hey, how did the Bills follow this up against another good team? Might have done better. I don't know.
Expect that, yeah.
Probably
did not expect that performance.
He did a little remix though, being Josh Allen. He went 3-3, then he went 2-2, 3 through the air, 3 on the ground, 2 through the air, 2 on the ground this time, 362 yards, 68 on the ground on 11 carries. James Cook, amazing. Ty Johnson, what the fuck?
5 catches and 114 receiving yards. Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Keon Coleman caught a 64-yarder. Jared Goff loses with 494 yards and 5 touchdowns and no picks. This is old. We're getting old style football back, like big crazy stat lines and tons of points.
Good, we needed it.
Awesome. We very unfortunately lost David Montgomery to injury in this game. One of probably my favorite non-Patriot in the league. I love David Montgomery. Ali McNeil tore his ACL. That's a huge, huge loss.
Is their season over?
I don't know. It makes it a lot harder to win, man. Carlton Davis to a fractured jaw or broken jaw, so that's tough.
I mean, I knew they were banged
Khalil
up.
Dorsey's leg fractured too. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They lose four guys in this game to add to what I was going to say a laundry list of injuries. For the people that like myself, that didn't know just how I knew they were hurt, but didn't know how bad it was. Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McKeel, Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, Alex Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, Jalen Reeves-Maben, Carlton Davis, Ennis Rakestraw Jr., Emmanuel Mosley, is it Afiatu
Ifeatu
Melanfonwu?
Melifonwu, yeah.
Yep.
He's a
Thank you. And
master.
now David Montgomery. Obviously, they can not afford to have that injury, but you do have Jameer Gibbs. So that one kind of doesn't sting as much as some of these other ones did. But their defense, I mean, I don't know how you not bounce back from this because I'm sure the Lions will still find ways to be competitive and win games. But at this point, I feel like you're kind of becoming a one-trick pony here, and you're going to have to rely on your offense to bludgeon teams. And as we saw in this game, you score 42 points and you still lose. Like, Eagles are starting to play a lot, or have been playing a lot better football. Their defense is really coming into its own these last couple of weeks. Like, there's some people that think they're the cream of the crop in the NFC right now. Lions are slipping, and I don't want to say they're slipping fast, but it's just I feel like the law of averages at this point. Like, they're starting to lose too many key players, and you wonder if they can
Yeah.
continue to play as well as they have.
Just gotta pray with that offense, man.
Right?
Pray for that offense because they're gonna have to do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe extra, maybe just more of the same. We'll see. Depends on game by game. And fuck, this game was fun. Can we just get this every week?
I wish. I mean, I'm looking at that again. I don't know how the hell I picked the Bills to score less points against the Patriots than they did against the Lions. Like,
Like they could just take the foot off the pedal too.
They really could, yeah. Well, that you also factor into
Detroit
it.
this time.
Yeah, you also factor in that the Lions scored 42 points and the Bills had to score 48. So the Patriots aren't probably going to come anywhere near 42 points.
Yeah, big brain over there.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles 27, Steelers 13. The one thing maybe you could hold against the Eagles as a Super Bowl contender has now, at least temporarily, been wiped away a little bit. Jalen Hurts is a passer. Yep. Some concerns there. This week against a good defense, he goes 25-32, 290, and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Was sacked 3 times. That'll happen, no matter how good you are and how good your offensive line can be when you're playing the Steelers, because that's what they do. They get sacks. He was good through the air. Devontae Smith, 11 catches. Welcome back. I think this is like his second or third week back. 109 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown getting his share as well.
Yep.
Keeping both of the mouths full there.
Could see that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, absolutely. And the running game for Pittsburgh was shut down. 26 combined yards from the 2 main guys. Yeah, you have to wonder you were cluing at it, like with this injury, like do the Eagles rise to the top over the Lions or the Bucks? I mean, the Bucks
Bucks
we're
dropped
going to
the
talk
40
about
bomb.
them too.
Yeah,
Bucks dropped the 40 bomb. So
now, the only thing that really stood out to me in this game, I mean, other than kind of funny, I don't know if you saw it. I'm sure you probably did across social media that even with the win, the Eagles just still continue to have infighting with each other because Nick Sirianni was yelling at one of his coordinators on the sideline. I don't know if it was defensive or his offensive coordinator, but they continue to win games, and there's still never a dull moment with this team because there always has to be some sort of problem or fighting. But to me, it says more about the Steelers in the fact that all the people that want to talk about it, I think I asked you this a couple weeks ago, if the Steelers were legit. No, is the correct answer when it comes to the playoffs, because we saw what happens. The playoffs, teams will obviously hone in on your best players or your big strength. The big strength of the Steelers outside of their defense is, of course, their run game. And as you said, 10 combined rushes between Najee and Jalen Warren, 24 combined yards. Like, that's not going to get it done anywhere close to get it done. And when George Pickens is banged up and there's still questions about his availability moving forward, Russell Wilson is not the Russell Wilson of old. Steelers look like a very beatable team in this game, and they were.
They sure were. We'll see. Like, this is an interesting spot for the Steelers, though. Still, like, no matter how things go and they're in the playoffs,
True.
like past few years, it's been like Steelers, like, they're winning games that they probably shouldn't, and they're winning on field goals and Chris Boswell and coaching. But like, the Steelers can still do that, and they can put up points. They didn't do it this week, but it's an interesting group, an interesting vibe with the Steelers that I'm looking forward to them hopefully losing, and I think they will lose in the playoffs because I don't like them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all goes down because it's a little different this year. Bucks Chargers. Oh, did I not expect this?
No, talk about a team getting bitched.
This is a team in the Bucks that can do this type of offensive performance. I just didn't see it against Jim Harbaugh's defense. I really didn't. this is an expect the unexpected game, I guess, in retrospect. Baker Mayfield throws one pick, but other than that, he was great. 22 for 27, 288, and 4 touchdowns, 2 carries for 25 yards. Jalen McMillan is really ascending these last few weeks. Kind of makes you think like they're going to be pretty comfortable with letting Chris Godwin go.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you don't want to. Great player. Won Super Bowls with them, but Jalen McMillan looks good. I wish the Patriots had their Washington receiver doing good, but that isn't happening.
No, took the wrong one again.
Yeah, but McMillan was never
True.
really in the discussion in the second round, I don't think.
No.
More of a third, fourth guy. Mike Evans, 2 touchdowns. Excellent. Could have done that last week when I bet on him. That would have been sick. Bucky Irving, 15 for 117. That's quite the performance. He looks so good. What a draft pick. And Rachaad White, it's a lot of Bucky Irving talk, but Rachaad White, 81 total yards and a touchdown. A very, very dominant performance by the Bucs, and Justin Herbert and the Chargers were on the receiving end.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs at the playoffs started today. They're a team you don't want to play. I mean, I know that is all going to hinge on Baker's health. I saw today that he did not practice with a knee injury, so maybe that's something that lingers and kind of hampers their chances. But if you're getting performances like this, just across the board, very good. And like you said, McMillan is starting to come into his own. The running backs, maybe the best running back duo in the NFL now with, the unfortunate injury to David Montgomery. But I mean, you're getting 2 very different play styles, I feel like, between Bucky Irving and Rachaad White. Buccaneers are a dangerous team. Their defense steps up like they did in this game and holds the Chargers like they did. Herbert didn't have a bad game, but wasn't what we've seen from him in the past. And their playmakers were shut down in this game. I know McConkey and Johnson both got into the end zone, but nothing flashy there, and their run game was non-existent. So Buccaneers, like they were last year, dangerous team at this time of year. They're starting to peak at the right time, it would appear.
Yeah, that'll work. Got to get in the playoffs, and luckily for them too, their division isn't anything crazy, but we'll talk about one of their divisional foes making a quarterback change.
Could become very interesting.
Could become very interesting. One we've talked about a certain quarterback change. One we have speculated on. Packers 13. I almost said the numbers wrong. Packers
13.
30, Seahawks 13. Real tough one for the Seahawks, who were trying to get some stuff going, succeeding in getting some stuff going as well. All to be squashed a little bit by the Packers. Jordan Love, a lot of pretty nice quarterback performances this week. Jordan Love didn't light the world on fire, but was pretty efficient. Didn't throw any picks. 20 for 27, 229, 2 touchdowns. Romeo Doubs came back and got 2 touchdowns. Again, musical chairs offense. Yep. He gets the luck of the draw. Josh Jacobs gets the ball 26 times on the ground, 4 times through the air, 136 total yards and a touchdown. And their defense led by Kingsley and Enagbare. 2 sacks for him, 7 sacks for the group, Edger and Cooper and Carrington Valentine with the picks. 12 QB hits, 10 tackles for loss, and 6 pass deflections. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Packers are in the same boat. I mean, I think a little bit more talent all around than the Buccaneers, but both teams in very similar places that, you don't want to play them when the playoffs start. Packers, their defense, they play angry. They hit you and you're going to feel it. I
love Rashawn Gary so much.
Yeah, he's very good. I mean, that defense as a whole, not to continue to use the same phrase, coming into their own, but I mean, they have progressively gotten better and better as the season has gone on. On the flip side of it for the Seahawks, I feel like they kind of do the same thing every year. They give you a little bit of hope if you're a Seahawks fan that maybe they're going to sneak into the playoffs, maybe go on a little bit of a run, win that division. When you have some of these performances late in the year where things start to unravel or just completely become unraveled. Now Geno's hurt. Don't know what his situation is with his knee injury that he suffered in this game. But that's obviously going to be a huge blow to them if he can't go the rest of the way. So obviously kind of in wait and see mode on Seattle. But the Packers, they're going to be a tough matchup in the playoffs if they can continue to do stuff like this.
The NFC's pretty strong, man.
Really is.
Pretty strong. One of them, if the Chiefs are there, these performances, even if they're teams you don't like, gives you hope that if the Chiefs get there again, they will lose.
Mm-hmm.
I had plans Monday night. I didn't watch a second of either of these games, but
they were both terrible.
It appears that the Bears are still really in turmoil. They lose 30-12 to the Vikings. Yeah,
I'm sure you saw it on social media. We got a Caleb Williams meme of him looking like he was dead on the side. I mean, he took a big hit. I don't know if you saw the hit across on social media that he got thumped. So I will maybe give him the benefit of the doubt there, but it's opened the same can of worms that he had coming out of college. Everyone, I saw a picture today. Everyone alluded to, somebody said like we should have seen this coming because again, it is him like slumped on the bench, like you would thought he like legitimately died. And then it was another picture of him in college. Obviously, everyone made a big stink of him crying in his mom's arms. There was another one where he was on the sideline, very similar, slumped over, like after taking a
At
big hit.
Oklahoma. So
So
it dates back a little
it
while.
does. But I mean, it's opened the door for people, and I think they talked about it on the broadcast. The situation with him of he's his confidence shot with the hits he's taken and the play they've had. I think you can very much see that watching him play that game because he just looks lost out there. He had a Mac Jones sack too, running around, spinning, trying to run the ball all over the place, and then just kind of fell down. So it was not great for him. And the Vikings, it's the same thing every week from them. A balanced attack. Sam Darnold, you know, I want to say still maybe in the MVP consideration, but again, we said it earlier, it's a two-horse race between Allen and Lamar Jackson. Very easily think Darnold could be your runaway comeback player of the year, though, recipient. And again, their offense as a whole, Jones and Akers both find the end zone. Justin Jefferson was great in this game. Hawkinson and Addison do their thing. So the Vikings, maybe a team that's not being talked about as much as some of the other big powerhouses, but the Vikings continue to put up a very sneaky good season. And then Falcons Raiders. Like I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. You mentioned it earlier. The biggest news came after this game. Was that Kirk Cousins is done. Michael Penix, who we were both calling for last week, took him an extra week to do so. But he is going to be the starting quarterback of the Falcons moving forward.
The next layer of the very confusing draft pick that is
Right?
looking less confusing. Everybody went through all the different scenarios, like, ooh, did they give Kirk all this money for contract structure reasons, or like are they just comfortable with moving on if they need to? They took a chance on an older quarterback. That helps too. It's better for like a Kirk Cousins developmental situation with the quarterback behind him if they got like Drake May, who's
Mm-hmm.
younger than Michael Penix. They didn't. Michael Penix is, maybe not, as we've seen Drake May look pretty NFL ready, maybe not more NFL ready at this point, but he was projected as a more like floor guy out of the draft. Like, hey, like he could step in maybe easier if needed because he's older, he's got more miles on him, even though, a lot of injury history. Um, so yeah, it's all starting to pay off, I guess, that risk they took. Um, and we have another lefty in the NFL. He joins Tua,
That'll be
and
weird.
a lefty with a pretty sick arm. So Falcons fans have that to look forward to. Um, his arm is pretty awesome. We'll see what the rest of it looks like, and we'll see if Michael Penix is the franchise because they need him to be, and they need other stuff, but they need him to be because Kirk Cousins is showing his age and throwing picks like nobody's business. So
Yes, he is.
we did not get the Desmond Ritter revenge game we were all thirsting for.
Right. Yeah.
23 for 39, 208, one touchdown, two picks, 5 carries for 28 yards. Did not really help Brock Bowers' case. He's trying to break Puka Nakua's reception record. I think his is like I think I saw he's like 12 away. I don't quote me on that, but he's relatively close.
He's close. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, the Michael Penix Jr. era, and Vikings would have been fun to watch them beat the Bears a little bit. It's nothing against Bears fans. Just it's more fun to watch a team put up 30 points than not 30 points when you're watching as a neutral observer.
True.
This game, yeah, like much like the Thursday game, really glad I didn't see this one.
Yeah, he didn't miss much.
Pretty wild.
Just straight Vikings domination. Bears really didn't have an answer for anything.
Yep, seems that way. Week 16 preview and picks. You went 12-3 last week. I went 10-5. And we have differing picks for Thursday.
Don't tend to have that too often.
Sometimes we don't.
Yep.
Broncos at Chargers. I'm going with the Chargers at home. Desperation. Great coaching battle. I think this game will be very, very close. I would love to see overtime. I would love to see a Harbaugh versus Sean Payton, sometimes hardo ass. And just I feel like we haven't had any like amazing overtime thrillers this year. Like maybe one or two, but nothing that comes immediately to mind.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some games, but not ones that like stand out the test of time, really, for me at least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with the Chargers in a close one at home.
I'm gonna take the team that's been playing better. I hear your Chargers and playing for desperation, but that'll be next week when they get to face the Patriots and they can stomp them. Um, it's the Broncos for me. They've been playing better defense. Their offense maybe hasn't been as good as the Chargers has been of late, but Bo Nix still very good. Courtland Sutton's been an absolute monster for them this season. If they figure out their run game at any point, like the Broncos could be a very dangerous team. But in the end, like I said, they're playing slightly better than the Chargers right now. I'm going to take them on the road.
All right, good enough. Texans Chiefs. Would be funny if the Texans won. I don't think they will. I don't know if CJ Stroud is gonna pull this one off. I do like him to keep it close. I like to be an entertaining game. Unfortunately, I will be at work and won't be able to watch it, but is what it is. But the Chiefs, we'll see how affected by this crazy injury Patrick Mahomes will be, and I think they will win regardless. Well, maybe not regardless if he gets hurt like early and can't play, but
he's not going to be effective because there's no true injury there. You can't tell me otherwise.
I noticed you had an asterisk next to the Chiefs earlier. What happened to that asterisk?
As we know, as you listened to me before, I hate Carson Wentz, so I was going to, if I was originally going to have, I had the asterisk there and picking the Chiefs if Patrick Mahomes was going to play. If he was not, I was going to go against the grain and take the Texans solely because I think Carson Wentz does not have the same devil magic that the rest of the Chiefs have, and he would have found a way to lose that game for them. But because it is Patrick Mahomes playing again with no injury, I guarantee he's going to have like a 25 plus yard scramble in this game that like puts them into field goal range and wins the game late for him. I'm taking the Chiefs again. I'm not gonna go against them until I'm proven otherwise, or until Patrick Mahomes is officially taken out of one of these games, because there's no reason to at this point. And I'm with you. I don't think CJ Stroud is gonna have enough to overcome this Chiefs defense.
This could be another one where the Texans O line looks a little bruised and battered too, because this could be a Chris Jones game. This just feels like a Chris Jones game for me. Ravens and Steelers. The Ravens will do some goofy shit that they do when they let teams hang in. The last time they played was interesting. This is not to say like the Steelers are bad, but like the Ravens have a way of either like making games close that maybe they shouldn't,
really shouldn't,
could be better in. But it's even worse when they do it against like a bad team every once in a while. I think they'll do some goofy shit in this game, but still pull it off. There's nothing, even with the Ravens still playing really good, there's nothing that says they won't avoid that falling into that type of trap again. So I'm expecting them to do so. Last time I watched them face each other, I was with a Ravens fan, so that was an interesting experience to witness that alongside him. That was funny. Interesting. This is the same time the Patriots lost to the Rams too, so that was an interesting day. I like the Ravens. Not like a lot, but I went with the Ravens.
I want to take the Steelers. And mainly because I need Lamar Jackson to have a bad game in my fantasy football playoff matchup, seeing that
now that you say this, he's going to have a good game.
He's going to, yeah. I spoke it into his. I mean, I'm expecting the worst. I'm projected to have 250 plus, not 250, like 155, I think, is what I'm projected to have against me. It's not looking good. I have a 64% chance of losing in my fantasy football matchup. It's going to be ugly. So I'm praying the Steelers defense finds a way to keep doing what they've done in the past against Lamar, and the Steelers find a way to win this game. I think they bounce back after maybe an eye-opening loss to the Eagles, and the Ravens, maybe come in thinking that their ish doesn't stink after a pretty big win against the Giants, and maybe get caught sleeping in this game, and the Steelers get a big win to make the division that much more interesting.
Man, would it be funny to see how Harbaugh reacts? Goofy shit happens. That whiny little fuck.
Yeah.
The 2-12 Giants play the Falcons. And it's a broken record that I say this every week, and it won't happen because they are so beyond the point of winning football games at this point, being the Giants. This would be such an epic Falcons loss if they lost.
It really would, yeah.
In a playoff push against Tim Boyle or whoever the fuck, maybe they'll sign someone to not be Tim Boyle as quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Unwatchable football game. The Falcons will win. I am not touching this game. Red Zone shouldn't touch this game.
No, they should tune into this. Maybe like if there's a kickoff return or something crazy.
I just briefly forgot that Michael Penix is playing. I will watch some of the games to see how Michael Penix looks. I lied.
Wow, it seems like a big over/under for this type of game. 42 points for the Giants and the Falcons.
What do
That
they
seems
know?
quite large. Maybe they believe in Michael Penix. Um, yeah, there's no reason to pick the Giants. I've said it week after week to my dad because he always likes to say the Patriots are the worst team in football. No, that is the New York Giants, and the Patriots will never be the worst team in football as long as the Giants are around because that organization is just an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah, they suck. They suck. Cardinals and Panthers. I'm a little torn on this one because I know the Panthers disrespected us, but I still have belief that they can, stay in some games. At this point, playing for pride. But the Cardinals, they're trying to get in the playoffs. It's a tight division. They just beat the Patriots, maybe a little swagger.
Nope.
I had to go with the Cardinals, but a part of me wanted to go Panthers.
I couldn't do it after
Just
getting
know
burned
that.
last week. You
Yeah,
said it. It was very rude
they
of them to
disrespected
scorn
us.
us after picking them for the first time in God knows how long. I'm going with the Cardinals. They had their get right game. They figured some things out. Again, Kyler didn't look great in that game, but it is the Panthers. They tend to give up a lot of points, and I think he'll figure some things out in this game, and beat the Panthers pretty handedly.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, probably handedly. I think I'm on board with that as well. Lions and Bears. Good God.
No, it's oh
If
my.
you're the Bears, like if you're a Bears fan too, you want the best draft pick possible. But there's a subsect of Bears fans that like we want to fuck things up a little bit for the Lions. So that's a funny
Good
dynamic
luck with
going into
that.
this game.
Mhm.
Good luck with that, truly. It's the Lions.
Yeah, I mean,
Going
other than
on a
the
limb here, but
I was gonna say if there's a better team to face with the majority of your team banged up, it'd be the Bears. But I mean, again, the Giants and Patriots exist. Lions, doesn't matter how many injuries they have, they'll beat the Bears in this game pretty easily. Like this is a 2 or 3 touchdown game. Wouldn't surprise me if Jared Goff comes out and throws for like 4 or 5 more touchdowns, and maybe puts himself into the MVP consideration. But again, that is a foregone conclusion. It's going to either the guy in Buffalo or the guy in Baltimore again.
yeah. Yep, it is. Titans and Colts.
Gross.
Gross.
Another game Red
Colts.
Zone shouldn't touch. Mason
Ugh,
Rudolph versus Anthony Richardson. Ugh.
yuck. Um, yeah, the thought of this game being a thing is kind of like messing with my head right now. It's just not appealing really at all. Rams and Jets. Rams. Rams. The train doesn't stop here for the Rams, even though they, um aren't like I'm not saying that as they're like a Chiefs level team, but um they've been battling after dealing with some injuries for a while now. They've been battling getting back into form this last month.
Mhm.
It doesn't stop here. They continue to and they win.
What are you telling me that the Jets didn't figure something out, beating up on the or almost losing to the Jaguars last week?
No, no, I don't
Okay.
think they did.
You
No.
gonna tell me the Rams are gonna remember to cover Devonte Adams and not let Aaron Rodgers just pick them apart left and right? That's shocking
Mm,
information there.
mm.
Yeah, it's the Rams. They've been playing good football late. They're starting to get it all figured out. And their offense looks as it should have at the start of the year. Obviously, because of injuries, they're rolling right now, and I'm with you. It doesn't stop against the Jets.
Agreed. Eagles and Commanders. I really want to see the Commanders win, but they won't, right?
I couldn't. I wanted to, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm like the Commanders, as they did before, will find a way to Commanders this game up, and maybe have a chance late, find a way to lose the game because the Eagles are playing maybe the best football in the NFC right now. Um, they'll beat the Commanders here. I don't have a lot of faith Washington will pull this game out as much as I love Jaden Daniels. Um, he was pretty pedestrian in that first matchup against them. Maybe they're playing for more because Commanders are obviously fighting for a playoff spot a little later in the season, but Eagles will beat them in this game, I think.
Agreed. Browns and Bengals. Battle of Orange. Um, there's not a scenario where we're like Titans last week, right? Where the Titans are like, oh, maybe if certain so and so stayed healthy or didn't suck, they'd win this game or keep it a little closer. The Bengals should bludgeon the Browns. death.
Yeah, I mean, who the hell knows who's going to start at quarterback for the Browns? Is it going to be DTR? Is it going to? It's probably not going to be Jameis, because I think now that Jameis is benched, he's probably done. So yeah, if that's the case, then Bengals all the way. There's no chance that DTR puts up 30+ points that it would take to beat the Bengals, because the Bengals are going to score in this game.
If there's a scenario where DTR got hurt and like Jameis had to come in late, I guarantee you Jameis would throw a pick on the first drive.
Oh, probably. Within the first 3 passes. He'd get a first down on the check down, another first down on a run, and then be like, fuck it, I'm bombing the ball 60 yards downfield for literally no reason. And get picked off like it's nothing.
He's the best. Vikings Seahawks. The Seahawks are meh, this is a game where they could squeak out a win, but they won't. They don't win these types of games, I feel like. It's the Vikings for me.
Yeah, the Vikings have proven they can win every way, it seems like, this season. Last year, obviously, the big thing with them was losing close games. They've won close games this year. They've blown teams out. They're, not a well-oiled machine right now, but they're starting to figure some things out. Jefferson's starting to get involved way more. Aaron Jones is putting together some decent performances here and there. He's holding on to the football. Seahawks obviously need the game more than the Vikings do, but Minnesota's better all-around team, playing better football right now. I think they'll take this game against Seattle.
Indeed, I agree. Patriots, Bills. Oh man, gotta pause before this one. Mac Jones takes on Desmond Ridder and the Raiders.
What's the over-under in this game?
This game could only be worse if it was Raiders and Giants.
It really could be, yeah.
It's the only scenario.
Jaguars, and that over-under is 40.
This game should be on True TV.
Yeah, just some obscure channel 750 something no one's ever heard of.
Oh man,
is Mac Jones
on ESPN? This should be on ESPN the Ocho, because it's some sort of wacky sport. It's not even.
There
real
you
football.
go. Yeah, you can't even call it football. We need a new meme quarterback.
Then it'll transition into lightsaber fights, like people do. They do lightsaber fencing or whatever that league is. That sport is.
That's insane. Well, Will Levis is done, so we need a new meme quarterback, and I'm going to volunteer Mac to be that. What does Mac do in this game? It was the Rizzler last week. What's his
It's not even.
What's his claim to fame this week?
Not even fun.
See, with Will Levis, it was fun. With Mac, it's just sad because the level of dork that he is.
Something to reference Hawk Tuba.
Oh, good call.
He would be perfectly white.
Scams people with a fake currency. He just comes out with Mac coin at the end of the game, and
does
takes millions from people.
He takes his helmet off on the sidelines. Something.
I'm trying to think of anything. I'm trying to think of anything else that's trending on that is the Mac Jones-esque thing of let me look on social media and see what's trending, and that's how I'm gonna base my touchdown dance or what I'm gonna do on a first down.
He jumps on. He pretends to jump on one of his teammates like a Goomba in reference to Mario and Luigi to be topical about the Luigi Mangione case.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, yeah, I see how you pulled that. I was like, where is this going? Pulled it back in. Got it. Yeah. I was gonna say the new Sonic movie's coming out, so maybe he does something there, but that's Jahmyr Gibbs' thing, so it'd be kind of stealing if he did. But I don't know.
Horrible football.
The Dracula movie's coming out, isn't it? Maybe he'll do some Nosferatu thing, he'll give little bat wings or something stupid, or
I will bite you.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh god, he sucks.
Flips the light switch like Nosferatu.
I saw the creator of Nosferatu or something thanked SpongeBob.
I saw that too.
Introducing SpongeBob to younger audiences. Yeah, that happened a while ago.
Oh, that's what I did. One of the guys I work with, he's like, we should, as our Christmas party, we should all just get tickets and go see Nosferatu. And that was my immediate thing. It's that's weird they made a movie about the guy that fucked with the light switch at the Krusty Krab.
If I worked for a company that, for a holiday Christmas party, wanted to see Nosferatu, that would be tough.
Yeah, I'm all right, I'm going to just pass up on that.
Nah, man.
Looks like a good movie, but yeah, I'm not going to.
No, thank you.
No, I'll pass.
Yeah, safely. 49ers, Dolphins.
Finesse bitch team.
2 finesse bitch teams?
Yes. This game will end in a tie because both these teams don't want to win football games or don't know how to win football games against good teams.
Oh man. It's weird that like this could have been an exciting matchup.
I was just
Maybe
having this
not.
conversation earlier today with somebody else. So I'm like, this is a game you circle on your calendar, and now it's
It
probably.
sucks.
And I said this to the guy I work with. I'm like, there's always one or two of these games. You circle on the schedule, but then when it comes time late in the year, you get a dud. Like last week's was 49ers and Rams. It'll be the same thing this week. You expect a ton of points in this game. Both these teams' offenses will struggle because they're banged up. You have guys underperforming. Um, 49ers defense is banged up, as we know. Uh, they'll find a way to win this game, but only because the Dolphins are that much worse than they are.
Yeah, it's 49ers. Nowhere close to picking the Dolphins for me. Buccaneers and Cowboys Sunday night football. You hope the Bucks have another 40 bomb in them.
You hope
And I
Baker
think they
plays
might.
too.
I think they might have a 40 bomb in them. I think.
Does Dallas have one to match him? Or are they
No,
okay?
surely not.
You're not riding the Cooper Rush, I
I am
guess, for
not
lack of a
riding the
better.
Cooper Rush. No,
All right.
no,
I'm
I am
not either.
not.
I'm picking the Buccaneers. I hope Baker plays in this game because if not, I don't want to have to pick the Cowboys, but I don't even know who the backup is in Tampa Bay right now. So it's still Trask. Is he still there?
I was thinking about that earlier, but I didn't look. I think he is. Kyle Trask. I was high on Kyle Trask, man. That was one of my worst. I wanted the Patriots to draft Kyle Trask and Kadarius Toney and keep
Oof.
them together.
I knew about
One of my
Trask. I
worst.
didn't know about Kadarius Toney. That's bad.
One of my worst. That was not good. Really hasn't been very good for Florida since then, to be honest.
Who
It's been
is
a
their
rough
quarterback? It is
stretch
Kyle
for them.
Trask.
Who's their other? Does it
Ryan
say?
Griffin, I think.
Oh, okay.
No, never mind. Never mind. That's I don't know why the best of the Buccaneers quarterbacks just pulled up. I googled who are the Buccaneers' current
It's
quarterbacks.
Mike Glennon. It's
Where,
Byron Leftwich.
where is your depth chart? Come on, Google.
Blaine
Baker,
Gabbert?
Kyle Trask, and there's only two on their depth chart on their website.
No. Maybe I thought Blaine Gabbert might be in there still.
Unless
I don't know. He might have retired.
practice.
Monday Night Football. Saints and Packers. Not really much to think about here. It's
No.
certainly the Packers, especially at home.
Yes, it is.
They will be winning the football game. There are no bye weeks still. No more bye weeks.
Nope.
No one's
Bye
winning the
week's
bye.
done.
No more bye weeks until the playoffs. But
Michael Pratt is on their practice squad.
oh, I liked Michael Pratt at Tulane.
Couldn't even tell you who that is.
He was just like one of those guys that's good enough to get drafted in the fourth round. You're like, yeah, maybe, or maybe he's
Okay.
just a backup, like
All right.
a better Bailey Zappi.
All right.
Maybe similar level Bailey Zappi type, but hopefully more likable than Bailey Zappi. She's kind
Right.
of a weirdo.
He needs to have more of a personality.
Yeah. Let's shift to Bruins. It looked like we might have been getting a tough West Conference / Canada trip at the start of this one for sure. But that wasn't the case. But it did start rough. Seattle on the road, not a great team. You lose 5-1. Korpisalo's in net. Only stopped 16-20. Not what you want.
I love that we jinxed him. Sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah,
both
we
of us
did
were
a little.
clamoring for more Corpusalo last show, and this is the immediate performance he gives us right out of the gate.
Yeah, but now they set themselves up in an interesting spot. Swayman got the next two. Do you want to put Swayman in his third in a row against Edmonton?
That might be tough.
I don't know about that one, but I'm not the coach. 34-21 shot advantage for the Bruins certainly didn't matter. We start with a pasta high sticking double minor. Last week it was me turning on the game and Trent Frederick taking an immediate interference penalty. This time Pasta takes an early double minor for high stick. Bjorkstrand tips a power play goal home with 24 seconds in. Pretty bad start. Really needless McAvoy turnover leads to a Jaden Schwartz goal. The one goal the Bruins scored was on a penalty shot due to Brandon Montour covering the puck in the crease. Brad Marchand scores. He's been red hot lately, and they've needed him to be red hot. Dunn gets a block, bats a blocked McCann shot out of the air. Because why not? It's just one of those games where goofy nonsense just starts to happen and you kind of turn the cheek to it. Really terrible turnover by Parker Wotherspoon behind the net. Bjorkstrand uses Peak as a screen for his second of the game, beats Corpusalo. And a McCann empty netter. I don't have much else to take away from this game. Matt asks in the chat, would you guys say the Bruins defense needs work, or does Swayman suck? Both.
Ooh, yeah, I say, is that an either or could I choose both on that? Because that is the definite answer.
Definite, easy answer.
Although Swayman has played better, so there is maybe some hope that he's starting to come out of things. But yeah, I'd still say both.
Though where he gets like max 23 shots against him in games. Like if he wins games like that, it's a little less impressive for me.
True.
Like
yeah. I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
He still looks a little calm and too calm in the net. Like he doesn't really. He's very athletic, and he kind of just like looks like he's like, oh, that's gonna go past me. Like I'm just gonna kind of shrug at it. Like
is Matt home? Or is he listening from another room in your guys' apartment? Yeah. Or like, okay, because there's part of me that always, if he's home and has a question, I always like want him to just kind of run into the back of the frame and just kind of like take the mic. He'd be like, hey guys, I have a question I wanted to ask you guys, and then just run right back out when he's done. Okay, thanks, see you later.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
No guest appearances.
No guest appearances.
All right, Matt, if you're listening, totally don't, as Mike's talking, just kind of awkwardly move yourself into the screen and like wave and then slowly back out again, like nothing ever happens. Definitely don't do that.
Definitely don't do that. Yeah.
Wouldn't be good.
A couple days later, 5-1 loss turns into 5-1 win against Vancouver. A little revenge for the shutout loss they took on my birthday. That was kind of rude of the Bruins.
Very rude.
So he was off 19-20. Again, another one of these like stops 19-20, but like not facing high shot volume. Part of the equation there. 28-20 shot advantage for the Bruins. Pasta hits 400 assists. He had a goal, 3 assists, and 4 points in this game. Waiting for that Pasta explosion. We got it. Zacha had a goal and 2 assists. They outshot them 16-4 in the first period. I liked that. Another really nice, efficient power play sequence. We're getting somewhere. We talked about one of those last week with whatever game I'm forgetting. These like quick, efficient passes, effective passes, not sitting around overthinking things and not shooting when you should shoot. Marshall wanted to hear the noise, went up to the crowd like this. Everybody was booing him. I'm sure you can guess why. Good cycling on the Geeky goal leads to Geeky finding the puck up front from Pastrnak. There's another one. It's kind of like a quasi no-look pass by Pastrnak to Zacha into the middle. He goes and scores, makes it 3-0. Marchand gets into it with Hughes and Miller. Him and Hughes had choice words for each other. But I don't know if you've noticed, like, Quinn Hughes, like, very often looks like petrified. But I don't think he is. People just, like, I see it on Twitter. People, like, he'll look super scared all the time. And I don't think he is. But it's funny how he gets caught in these screen grabs where he looks, like, petrified all the time. And he got in a fight with Marchand, probably someone he didn't ideally want to be going toe-to-toe with in a screaming match, but he's the captain, so is Marchand. They're both undersized. You got to play above your size in a situation like that. Marchand, we know, does that a lot. Really nice play by Peak on this fourth one. Forced an offensive zone turnover, gets it to McLaughlin, who, the age-old rule, sometimes you just got to throw it on net. You just threw a little floater on net, and it goes in. Pasta cruises in on a 4-on-4 wraparound, gets the 5th goal for the Bruins. The one goal they let up wasn't amazing. Not a great pass by Marchand, but a horrible, horrible puck pickup attempt by Elias Lindholm. Leads to a turnover and a goal for Max Sasson. Believe it was his first career goal. He was not even really remotely excited because it was the Chris Paul meme. Chris Paul hits a 3 to cut the league to like 40 points.
That's right. Yep.
He scores
great meme.
A great meme for sure. And he scores to make it 5-1, not 5-0. At least he prevented a shutout. At least there's something there. Any thoughts, Ryan? Did you catch any of these games? Any takeaways you might have had?
I have not. I have not caught these games, unfortunately.
Okay.
So no big takeaways. Last night was kind of the one that I have the takeaway from, or kind of something I wanted to build off of, but we'll get to that now.
Excellent. 4-3 win in overtime last night. It wasn't great at times. Elias Lindholm was quite blunt about that in between periods. He had a great game. He had 7 shots on net, had a goal, good advanced metrics as well. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but like the goals, expected goals for, and all that jazz. I was looking pretty good in his favor. Swayman stops 20 of 23. They outshoot the Flames 35-23. Got to be the first time all year. No penalties. No
it's a miracle.
penalties.
Christmas miracle.
Clap. We must clap.
Good
Wow.
job.
Proud of them.
Yep.
Joel Hanley took the only penalty. I think it was in the third period. They won 68% of draws. That's always fun. They did have 27 giveaways.
That's not good. That does
Calgary
not
had
deserve a clap at
24.
all.
So lots of giveaways to go around. Maybe partially rescind the clap for that. They've now won 7 of their last 10, but so has Tampa, who's right behind them. And I think they have one game in hand on the Bruins. Don't quote me on that. Lindholm was the only player with 2 points. Revenge game for him.
That was good to see.
Very good. Please do more goal scoring. Scoreless first period, high scoring second period. Really not sure what Zadorov was doing on the snipe by Coronado, but I do know at the same time he was doing nothing, which was less than
And that answers
optimal.
that.
Yeah. Because you're like, what the hell are you doing? Then you're like, oh, you're doing nothing. You're fucking getting expensive cardio. Like, fucking hell. Kadri snipes one through a Jordan Osterley screen. Revenge game for him as well. Lindholm accidentally makes this like pass to himself type of move and scores. Big goal for him. Again, would like to see more goals from him. That would be sick because he doesn't really do that. Fluky bounce off of Carlo, finds Lomberg back door. That was annoying. Goals just find ways in the net after they touch Brendan Carlo, like all the time.
Really do.
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely uncanny. One of them even hit off, like we talked about last week, the one that hit off Carlo, then Zadorov went in. Like they're finding new ways, new creative ways. It's so fun. Peaks rebound finds Geeky, and the comeback is on. Geeky's been hot lately a little bit, rebounding a little bit. Pasa's been good. Marchand's been good. It's good stuff. Mark McLaughlin gets his own rebound and bundles Dustin Wolf. I saw he's almost waiver eligible, so goals in back-to-back games is pretty good for a guy trying to fight to keep his roster spot. Because
sure.
if he gets sent down, he might be battling for a roster spot elsewhere if somebody puts in a claim. Someone might put in a claim for him. I'm not guaranteeing nothing, but I could see it. And Pasta wires the overtime. What's up?
Real quick, I was just saying no Borica bias here, but like can we just keep him around? He seems to like do something good, I feel like, for the majority of the time he's out there. So like enough of the, jockeying him back and forth, because obviously, like you said, now you're gonna run into a problem if you start jockeying him back and forth between here and Providence. Like just this is one of the guys, and we talked about him at the start of the year. Can you just play it out with him through the whole year, see if he gives you anything, and then make a decision at the end of the year? Like if he just tapers off, then you send him back to Providence. I don't know, package him in a trade or something, get rid of him if you don't want him. But like, this is one of the young guys. Like again, nothing biased here because he's from the same town that I grew up in. But like, just ride it out with him and see if he can give you something. Whether you put him in your bottom 6 or move him up and down. Because again, like he seems to do a lot more good than bad whenever he's out there.
Yeah, he's a fine player. Like when he's not noticeable, I don't think he's bad, but when he's noticeable, he makes plays. And when he came into the league outside of BC, he scored a few big goals. Like he earned his call up. They weren't just like, okay, we'll pick him.
Yeah, we'll
he
see what he
scored
can
in
give
like
you.
5 straight before his call up. Now Matty Patra's doing that. He's got goals in 6 straight. Very good. Maybe we'll call him up soon. Maybe Fabian Lysell. I don't know. I think they just don't like Fabian Lysell.
It doesn't seem like it.
I don't think they like him.
McLaughlin's also one of those guys too, and Poitras's starting to become this too. With like you said, how well he's played down there. Where if you send him down to, I almost said Worcester, you send him down to Providence, it's kind of in the boat of like, what else does he have to prove down there? Like at this point, you're just burying him down there to bury him. I feel like, or give somebody else a chance that probably maybe doesn't deserve one, or like you shouldn't be getting a look at. Like, again, like we've been preaching for this for a while. Like the young guys that deserve to be up here and play, keep them up here and play them. Again through the growing pains or whatnot. But again, McLaughlin has had plenty of opportunities now where you should be able to trust him in certain situations. And again, if he does struggle, continue to ride it out with him and see if he can figure it out. Because again, I just don't see what sending him back to Providence would even prove at this point.
And look at it this way too, like you've had bad experiences with Tufties and Joneses of the world.
Yeah, why would you want to go through that again?
Keep a guy that's earning it, and like Johnny Beecher is playing fine, not lighting the world on fire like he was at the start of the year with points. Kepke puts up a point every once in a while, but like McLaughlin can slot in for guys like them every once in a while. Even Mark Kastelik, if you want to. Like I don't have a problem with any of those 3 guys, Beecher, Kastelik, Kepke, but like McLaughlin's looking like a pretty good rotational guy right now. Keep him around.
Absolutely.
No sense in really risking putting him on waivers unless you're just not really worried he'll get claimed. Yeah, he's earning it. Like, you know, they got an interesting decision to make when the time comes. So, good for McLaughlin. Pasta wires an OT winner past Wolf, and Frederick brings out the water. Pretty funny. A lot of trade buzz around him lately. Apparently, they're not super close on a contract. I had a dream that he signed mid-season unless I was in the future in my dream, which is obviously not possible as a pending UFA under contract to sign with a new team while you're on a different team. It's just a dumbass fucking dream. I had a dream that he signed with the Blue Jackets for $8 million a year.
Jesus.
Trent Frederick. That's just my brain, I guess. Trade buzz around him lately. We lost the Frederick for Kako idea today, as we included earlier. Interesting trade. They get Will Borgen a third and a sixth for Capo Kako. We'll see how it works in Seattle. And yeah, you can say that pick's a bust now if you're a Rangers fan that was holding out hope.
Yeah.
Definitely a bust. Second overall pick in the Jack Hughes draft. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to look back at that draft now. Like, it was 2019. I'm like drawing a blank on who went after them. Was that? So yeah, it was 2019 draft. Who could be helping the Rangers right now? Because I wouldn't bring this up in like a situation with a team that's playing mid or like really good. The Rangers were like 12-4-1, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
And they're playing horrible.
They're underperforming big time.
Horrible. Let's see. Let's just do a little hypothetical fun here. Kirby Dach wouldn't be helping them. Kirby Dach sucks. He's in Montreal now, not even with the team he drafted. Bowen Byram could be a Vancouver Canuck, apparently, by tomorrow night with the trade freeze. Apparently, Vancouver is interested in him, so he could be traded for a second time. Alex Turcotte hasn't panned out. Moritz Seider has panned out. That could be helping the Rangers, but I don't think that was ever going to happen. Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of these other picks are not looking good. Dylan Cousins, subject of trade rumors. Apparently, Nashville likes him. Philip Broberg has already been offer sheeted. He's not with the team he's playing with. Trevor Zegras kind of stinks and might be traded by the Ducks. The picks after are not looking good until you get to Matthew Boldy, who's excellent at 12. So maybe not really a fun hypothetical, I guess, but it was fun to do a little thought exercise. Did you react surprised to something? What happened?
Yeah,
Is everything okay over there?
Yeah, it's fine. It was nothing. I was just shocked more than anything else. While you were talking, I saw that the NFL, because we were talking about awards and stuff earlier. There was an article that came out from Tom Pelissero about 27 NFL GMs and other executives vote on their award favorites. I scrolled all the way down to Executive of the Year, and there is some nutcase in the NFL that gave Elliott Wolf a vote for Executive of the Year.
Yeah, that's pretty dim.
Yeah, it's just maybe an overreaction, but I was kind of just blown away. Like, and then I had to scroll up again to make sure nobody gave Gerard Mayo a vote for Coach of the Year. It's like, then we just be getting crazy.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
Mm-hmm.
One idea I did want to bring up too, and he's been in trade rumors for a few years now, on and off. And Kevin Weeks tweeted something about him a few weeks ago. If the Bruins are looking for a player-for-player swap, maybe a winger-for-winger swap, I do wonder if they could send another former Bruin in this case to Vancouver and maybe do a Frederick for Nils Höglander trade. That's another guy I think they could look at. I like Nils Höglander. Different style than Frederick for sure. Different physical build, but that's some good depth scoring, and they might just be like, hey, if we're not gonna be able to sign him, like we can't risk a DeBrusk situation.
Yeah, he can't
like,
go
let's
through
try
that
and
again.
get something.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with Frederick. He's been in rumors a little bit. Edmonton tomorrow night could be bad. Might be bad. I don't feel good. I'll say that. You have the 18-11-2 Edmonton Oilers in their barn. They're third in the Pacific. Leon Draisaitl has 47 points in 31 games, and they have won 8 of their last 10. Frightening.
Pretty good.
Buffalo, quite the opposite. The Buffalo Sabres have lost 11 straight. They are 11-17-4. We're on the pulse here with Buffalo. I wasn't believing it this year. I believed it last year.
It's the
It's
same thing
bad.
every year.
It's something fucking fucky every year. We're talking about Dylan
I don't
Cousins
get it.
potentially being traded. That deal looked like a steal when it happened. It already looks bad. That took a quick 180. Bowen Byram, who they just traded for last year, might be on the way to Vancouver, apparently. He wants to be a number one, apparently. Good luck, because you're not fucking good enough to be a number one, idiot. Um, Buffalo is bad. Tage Thompson's not bad, though. Neither is Alex Tuck. They are tied for the scoring lead there. 25 points for each of them, respectively, in 27 games. Not good enough. Team sucks. Had a meeting in Montreal. They said they believe the solution is in this room. The solution must be invisible and not capable of playing hockey and holding a
there's a
stick
secret door somewhere that's
or
holding a bunch
playing
of
goalie
good
because they
hockey
could use a
players.
goalie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's bad. Buffalo, so many good draft picks. Some rough success stories of former players elsewhere, namely Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, Ryan O'Reilly. um, it's bad, and this is a must win for the Bruins. If no, there's not a scenario where you can be like, okay, yeah, they lost and something fluky or whatever. If they lose to the Senators or the Sabres, it's bad regardless of
Over.
how they lose.
Yeah.
It's bad.
True.
The Sabres are in a rough spot. Again, good team, bad team, good team. You have Washington, one of the stories of the season. Ovi was skating 17 days after his injury, so with him practicing lately, and I don't know if he's been practicing, but he's been skating. I wonder if we see Ovi come back in this game. I don't know if that's possible. I'm just speculating. They're 21-8-2, second in the Metro. Dylan Strome has 38 points in 31 games. Took him a while, but he's looking like the third overall stud 2015 draft pick. Yes, he was drafted in 2015. It's been that long. He's very, very good. Very, very good. Really nice player for them. 38 points in 31 games. They lost their last two, but won 7 of the last 10. We got one really bad team and a couple good teams coming up. Ryan, anything you're looking to see? I just don't know if they're going to throw Korpisalo in on the road against
Probably
Edmonton.
not.
But like Swayman's played twice, so they got a bit of a decision there. They kept the same lineup as Vancouver for the Calgary game last night, and they beat Calgary, but it wasn't as clean and efficient as the Vancouver win. Maybe we see a lineup change or two. We saw Marchand, Lindholm, and Coyle look really good together when that change was made. So maybe we see some Charlie Coyle in the wing to spark him. Really, it sparked the team as well as they made a great comeback effort. What are you looking ahead to here?
Well, I alluded to what I wanted to bring up earlier when you asked if I had seen these games, and this was the one I wanted to point to because I feel like you're in a very similar spot to where you were a couple weeks ago when you had that Philadelphia game where you had to come back and had a big win. And I said it came on the show, and I said that it kind of showed that they had some balls and something they hadn't really had all season. You're in a very similar spot where, yeah, it wasn't a flashy performance by Swayman, but he has a 1-goal game against Vancouver, so maybe he's starting to come out of it in that game. You have a come from behind game again against Calgary. And now you have two very good teams in the schedule. Like, to me, I want to see improvement after that because we expected them to kind of use that Philly game as that springboard to propel themselves and start playing really well. And then they went right back in the tank a couple games later. So it's like, all right, you kind of balanced yourself out there. You have a chance to right that wrong here. After 2 big wins, you blow out Vancouver, and then like you said, you have a great come from behind victory against the Flames in a game that maybe you shouldn't have won. But again, you did show some fight in that game, so I'll give you that one. Don't backtrack again. Play with Edmonton. Don't come out there and get speed bagged by him like you expected anything less than against a very good Edmonton team. Obviously don't come out there and expect to beat the Sabres. I don't know how many games they have between now and the Bruins game, so they could obviously lose more than 11 straight. But don't go into that game thinking like, okay, that they're one of the worst teams in the NHL. We can just show up and beat them. Like,
Yep.
I want to see some improvement off of these 2 big wins of late instead of what we've seen them do, time and time again is kind of go back into that Bruins team of old where they can't complete passes. They don't shoot the puck enough. They get terrible defense and goaltending. So maybe what's up?
Penalties.
And penalty. Well, that's the thing I was going to tell you. I was going to say is when you said there was no penalties in the game at night. You know what's going to happen now is they're going to correct everything, and it's going to go the other way. They're going to have like 20 penalties in the game, and then it's all going to balance out in the end. But yeah, just again to wrap it up easy instead of just running around it here. Build off the other night or last night.
Yeah.
Show some fight if you get a little bit of pushback against Edmonton because they're a tough team. We've seen that in the past. Um, you know, go right at them and try to continue to play as well as you have of late.
Yeah, I like that you connected it to the Philly game because I mean it's a harder situation when you're going into Edmonton this time, but
True.
you're hoping for that springboard. And not only do you have the springboard, you have attached to that before then with the Calgary game potentially, if it is the springboard, you have Pastrnak with this breakout
True.
performance we've
Starting to
been
play
waiting
well.
for.
Yep.
Playing better. Like your guy is looking like your guy again. So that's great. This stretch to start is like the inverse of like the coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb meme that goes around on Twitter all the time. You got the hydrogen bomb and then the coughing baby.
Yeah.
You got to beat them both. And then Washington is maybe not hydrogen bomb status, but like they're close. They're pretty good. They just
21
don't
and
have
8
a
is pretty damn
McDavid and a
good.
Draisaitl. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but it's an interesting stretch coming up. Let's see how they handle it. It's a holiday season. Let's not make it worse with Bruins. Let's not make it not as cheery, I should say, with Bruins losses. Let's win some games going into the holiday here and feel good about it. But yeah, we'll see. Something to monitor too. Like, I don't think they'll make a Frederick trade before the holiday freeze, but like, we do see January trades.
True.
Maybe as we get close, like more and more Frederick stuff could come out. We could see if they want to make a hockey trade in January. Maybe that's when we see something for Trent Frederick. I wonder if they're really far away enough. If they're like, we want to get ahead of this. There's a hockey trade to be made out there. I don't know. It's something. It's something to monitor.
For sure.
And if they don't make a hockey trade, maybe that's the opportunity where they say, okay, Fabian, let's go do something. You know, you've waited, but do something. If they end up just getting picks or picking a prospect or something for Frederick, I'm kind of leaning more towards they're going to trade him. I'm feeling more and more energy. Like
It does feel that way. Yeah, it's felt that way. I feel like for a while.
But it could also just be his agent talking to Weeksy and being like, hey, can you put stuff out to drive up the market on my client here? I don't know. That's nothing against Weeksy, but agents do that type of stuff. We've kind of
absolutely, yeah,
seen that become more of a prevalent thing over the years. So we'll see what the Bruins can do. We'll see how the Patriots game looks.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot, but a little probably to break down in a couple weeks. If that makes any sense. It'd be a different breakdown because we'll be a week removed from the game. But yeah, if you missed it at the beginning of the show, we will not be recording an episode on Christmas. And yeah, that shouldn't really come as a surprise to too many people. But we will be back in the new year. That'll be fun. 2025. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for listening, new and old listeners. We appreciate you. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Also YouTube and Twitch, full press coverage. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podchaser, rate, review, like, comment, all that good stuff if you're inclined. Follow us on Twitter at Mike_Cratty, at Ryan_Salvaggio, and the show at Salvaggio and Cratty Pod. We're also on TikTok. Throw the podcast name into the search bar. We will see you in 2 weeks, not next week. Stay safe, stay healthy, be nice people, all that good stuff. Enjoy the holidays if you're celebrating, and let's have a fun 2025. We'll talk to you then. Peace out.